Oh, wow, hang on, hang on. I know you're doing a bit, but for whatever reason, it's not picking it up. Yeah, they can only hear me right now. When don't know what that's about. All right, hang on.
It was.
There we go. That's fucking weird. Because it was working on the other audio thing. Whatever. Okay, I don't know.
It's
They
fine.
can hear you now. It was very
Oh!
funny. Ian's bit, and it's funnier when you explain things. Was he was doing what sounded like he had aged in between, and he
Mm-hmm.
was doing very old because getting old and
Mm-hmm.
dying is the number one horror,
That's
and
mm-hmm.
and it's
Time,
Halloween related. So
time it, tying it back, tying it back. I was doing a little goof there, guys. We like to have fun at Halloween.
doing a little goof, doing a little spooky you.
uh,
Sorry if he scared you. Ooh,
oh, sorry guys. I didn't mean to catch you off guard.
it's
I hope you guys are ready for something really intense. We're gonna be like this podcast is gonna be like that haunted house in Texas. You will not feel safe at
no,
all.
no, no, no.
This would
Do they
uh
still do that like really satanic one? The really you've heard about that? It used to be famous on Travel Channel. The
it's
satanic
yeah,
haunted.
because the satanic one ended with a concert, didn't it? Like he
Yeah, it's a
eventually went to
huge festival type thing. Like,
right.
I've always wanted to go to it because it looks rad. Like,
That one actually looks fun, just
yeah,
because it's like it's a satanic haunted house where at the end of it
you get a
you get
concert.
you get a concert, you get
That's
like
your
a rock
reward.
band.
Yeah.
Whereas uh yeah, I do remember that one. I don't remember what it was called, but I believe it
Yeah.
was also in Texas. Because
Mm,
I guess Texas just fucking loves haunted houses. Like
yeah.
I think they might just be good at it there.
Yeah. You think it's
Except
because it
for
kind of sucks? So like, I don't even mean that like sucks, but
Mhm.
I mean like there's so much like from what I hear, right, from people, you kind of have to really fit in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um. So.
yeah. I think there's a degree to which people are like, oh my god, it sounds a little maybe I don't intend this to sound snobbish at all, but
Yeah.
just based on what I've heard, I think Halloween out in Texas genuinely functions like how like traditional Catholic festivals
Hmm.
used to be, which is oh everyone loses their fucking
Yeah.
mind
Yeah. It's a
for a week.
release.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody just like becomes horny and drunk and
Yeah.
out of control for a week.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Like, because then there's a really cool Texas where people build their own homemade like rocket launchers and shit, and you get to blow up a fucking like I don't know a laundry machine.
Mhm,
That's
mhm.
Texas to me. That's
But
that's the cool like
like a fun part of Texas is pumpkin chunkin, which was I think
hell yeah,
also
dude. I've always wanted to go to that too.
seems super fun.
Fucking
People
rad. Hell
they
yeah.
build is the rule steam? I don't remember what the
I
qualification
know
is.
there's like different categories as it went on. I haven't kept up or like anything.
Right.
But
Right, right.
there's like the trebuchets, the catapults,
Mhm.
like yeah, steam cannons to just shoot. And a lot
Like
of it and like the biggest problem eventually is like the problem isn't we can't launch it far.
mhm,
The problem is the pumpkin has to not explode like as
mhm.
soon as it's launched because a lot of them have been rotting. So like
Yep, yep.
that's the real issue.
Uh, if you guys
Oh,
haven't
good.
seen it, it's worth going out to YouTube. Like, I'm sure you could watch
Yeah.
like the whole pumpkin chunkin
Discovery.
contest on there.
I don't know if Discovery Channel still does it. They used to like be there every year and like show
Mm.
you the stuff.
It's
It
pretty
used to be
cool.
cool. I don't know if they do that anymore because like the MythBusters would host it, and like Grant Imahara would host it. And, like,
Dude, first of all, rip, but
yeah,
dude,
recipes.
wow, 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 wow.
Yeah.
I I was gonna briefly mention, you know about the worst haunted house in America, which I believe is also in Texas, and I think they're called. I may be wrong, so guys, feel free to double check me. But I
Yeah.
believe it's called the Katy Haunted House,
Okay.
and that's
No.
the one that's run by like two Iraq veterans, and
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
they're the dudes who are like, yeah, you sign a waiver, and if you
Yeah, I
make it
watched
to
that
the end.
documentary on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What did you get out of it? Like, because from my gleaning, it sounds like people. This is what I had
Is
heard.
wait,
This is
wait,
what
wait.
I
No, go ahead. Go ahead. You go first.
was that like people can't really sign away a waiver
Oh
for
yeah,
going
that shit won't
blank.
hold up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, that's the one thing people don't understand. It's to a lot of those waivers. Uh, I'm not a lawyer person, but
Sure.
so I'm not gonna say all of them actually. But I know the vast majority of that shit doesn't hold up. In fact, like EULAs, which a lot of people are familiar with because of video games and shit,
Hmm.
that shit won't hold up.
Yeah.
What it's there for is to deter you from the thought of legal action
Mm. Hmm.
most of the time. In a more recent case that's very prevalent to a lot of people, I don't know if you heard about the TwitchCon stuff,
Mm.
where three people were injured
Hmm.
in for jumping into this foam pit because it wasn't really a pit; it was just a layer of foam
Oh
over hard
God.
concrete. And
Good
they told
Lord.
them they had to sign a thing, and they told them you could jump into it. And three people, like someone blasted their knee. Um,
Fuck.
the famous one was Adriana Chechik, like broke her back essentially, and
Hmm.
I think has to get a metal rod.
Good Lord.
Um, and people were like, "Well, they made them sign a waiver," and then a bunch of lawyers came out and go, "Yeah, that shit ain't gonna hold up. You can totally sue if it was like." If it was that they set up right from the negligent and told you you can jump,
Mm-hmm.
shit's it's yeah, you can totally fucking do that.
Well, the comparison that I had heard, and I like,
Yeah,
yeah, that makes sense. Is you can't put a sign next to a cliff that says "jump off for $12"
yeah,
and be like, yeah, I mean, you're. Uh, will I be fine? Oh, you will be fine. Okay, go
yeah,
ahead. Yeah,
yeah,
why not?
yeah.
Uh,
It's negligence, like, or there's an even harsh. There's a bigger term for it because you
well,
know
because
it's
they're
bad.
setting you up for something
They're
fucked
setting
up
you up
to
for
happen.
failure. Yeah.
Yeah, like so
Um.
they. Oh,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I was gonna say so to everyone, like a lot of that shit won't actually hold up. So do your
Mhm.
research on that and see if you have to take action.
And I was just gonna circle back to just say, yeah, you're exactly right. Like the Katie
Yeah.
House now does have lawsuits against it
Yeah.
because, like, so here's the thing: if you listeners do not know about this haunted house in Texas, so two dudes who are veterans, they set up a haunted house, and they've been
Mm.
doing it for like, God, it must be like over a decade now,
Yeah. It's a
maybe
really long
15
time.
years, something. Um, and basically they have you sign a waiver and they do a checklist check
Yeah.
basically, and they're like, oh, are you afraid of heights? What about tight spaces?
Yeah.
What about
Yeah.
the dark? What about water? And they just go down all the things that you admit to frightening you,
Hmm.
and then but then they don't really have you like walk through like a spooky house or
No,
anything. You just
it's not. It's called something else when it's like this because
Mhm.
it's not a haunted house. I think it's called like I don't know terror experience. It's something yeah where they kidnap you and they put you through like a thing.
It sounds like the most well, like they did the electrode bit, like they
Yeah,
tied a man down and like
just
threatened him
straight
with
up
car
shock them.
battery.
Yeah, yeah,
Like the lawsuit that I believe that just got brought against them was they put a woman in an oil drum and shoved her down a hill. And
yeah,
that was like real bad for her body.
yeah,
So, so they got sued. But they've also like partially drowned people several
yeah. I've
times.
seen that.
So
That was part of the documentary.
yeah.
Like it's
Um,
real. If
and at that point,
anything, that oh sorry, God.
I was gonna say, at that point, is that really like, oh, I'm confronting my fears? Like, no, I'm
Yeah.
getting water in my body. I
No,
don't want,
yeah, you're yeah.
you know. Go ahead, go ahead.
I was gonna say that documentary. One, it'll probably make you angry, but like two, it's also just from a like at like I guess anthropology. I don't know what the term will be, but like
Mm.
It's a fascinating look into this kind of person
Mhm.
that does
Mhm.
it, because that's a character, dude. That
Oh
is
yeah. Oh, yeah.
he is actually super skittish of
Really?
everything. Yeah, that's
Really?
like his thing. Um,
Hmm. Hmm.
and like you pay, I think the payment is like cans of dog food because they donate it to like a dog shelter. Uh,
Okay.
he tries to get like veterans to do to work on the thing, or to at risk youth.
Mhm.
But then he also watches these videos on his own time of
Mhm.
the quote unquote haunts. Um, it's wild. That fuck, dude. You can't make people up. Like,
Is he maybe a murder pervert now?
I don't
Is
know,
this
dude.
like
If it, I came of the opinion like after that, like, oh, this is a sex thing, and I don't know.
I immediately got that vibe when you said
Yeah.
like he watches the tapes
Well, as
back.
soon as
Like,
I
but
saw that, I went, "Oh, this is weird. He's getting his rocks off somehow, and like,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
and we just don't know, and we're not willing to talk about it." But
I really, I really
I would
don't
like
give
to be
enough of a
wrong.
shit to find out.
I
Yeah.
would like to be wrong. I would really. I don't think I have very little evidence other than finding out. Yeah, he watches the videos after,
But we're
because
saying here the official position of the show is
yeah,
sex pervert,
yeah,
sex murder pervert,
sex.
sex.
Um, so we took a detour, but I was gonna ask, like, I think we
Yeah.
talked about it one year. Just did you ever watch those Travel Channel shows where they would show around Halloween or October,
Mhm.
like, hey, top 10 haunted houses in America, top 10 haunted houses around the world, or like
Mhm.
haunted
Yeah.
hayrides and all that?
Love that. I
Same.
love
I
that.
used to love watching that shit to get into the mood and be like, can't afford to go to any of those places, but wouldn't it be cool if I.
Wouldn't it, if I could go to Romania and see the real like castle, like because apparently
Hell
they
yeah.
will give tours, and it's very popular in October internationally,
Yeah,
like
of course.
because Dracula's super famous. Like, fuck, I'd do it if I could.
Oh
I'd
yeah,
love
I
to
do it.
see. Yeah, why not?
I mean,
Uh,
I won't spoil. I won't tell people where what you're doing for Halloween, but that is on my bucket list where you're going
oh, I don't mind
for Halloween.
talking about it. Like
Oh, okay, go for it.
I'll yeah, I'll throw it out there. Yeah, guys. So literally, like, uh, less than a day worth of hours
Yeah,
after I record this,
yeah. I was
I'm
actually
gonna be.
surprised you wanted to record today too, just just because of it.
Well, I wanted to get it in for Halloween, definitely, but
Yeah, I guess I meant earlier, but like, yeah,
it's just the way the timetables they shake out.
how the shit
Uh,
works. Yeah.
but yeah, guys, I'm very excited to let y'all know that I'm gonna be headed down south,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna be going to celebrate my very first Halloween in New Orleans. And
Nolans.
golly, I'm beside myself. I'm so excited. Like,
Mm-hmm.
speaking of which, like on topic, there's gonna be a few haunted houses I'm probably gonna
Hell
go
yeah.
see. I'm very excited. Like, I'm gonna see Kathy Bates' old house. I'm gonna see. I'm gonna see. I'm gonna
You're
see.
doing the Axe Murder tour, right?
I'm gonna go see the Axeman murders, where
Yeah.
if you did not jazz it, he would have come after you.
Yeah, very famous
Um,
story. Very cool because it's like it's cool.
mhm.
It's a cool story, even though people
It's
died like before.
a.
But it's such like a, it has a premise. It has people coming together and doing it. Like,
Well, like if you all know about, I believe it was March when he wrote that letter to the paper.
yeah,
Like the entirety of the city basically huddled together in bars from 8
mm,
p.m. to 2 in the morning one night
yeah.
and just wouldn't stop playing jazz on the threat of murder.
No threat of murder. You
And
know, I think he literally had to play till sun was
oh,
up.
so
Right?
summer. Okay.
Yeah, I think
Like
that was the thing. Are you gonna
such a
visit?
good
Oh, good.
such a good story.
Yeah.
Am I gonna what?
Because I know you're not going to do the vampire tour, which is where that's the tour where like the true crime, the murder tour, where like people sacrifice or like would murder for the sake of vampirism.
Mm. Mm.
Are you going to at least go to the vampire cafe?
Oh, dude, I don't even know about that. Tell me a little bit about it.
Vampire cafe is across. I just found. I was reminded about this thing yesterday from a Night Mind video, Halloween Candy, the
Uh-huh.
new one. And he chose a theme that is very close to my heart. Uh, the the Vampire Cafe is right across the street from this house or building. Well, it used to be a house, but now it's like, I guess it's a retrofitted building on Bourbon Street.
Mhm.
Where two brothers had like kidnapped a bunch of people or taken them and were killing them for
Mhm.
and to drink their blood as like because they to become vampires.
Right, right.
So they would have a supply.
Good lord.
The only way they found out is someone escaped because they were really, according to the story or according to her,
Mhm.
if I remember this correctly, they were really shitty at tying knots. So, so she got
How?
out.
Uh-huh.
It's we laugh now, but it's like this poor woman, and
Yeah.
everybody involved. But she literally found a cop in the street, and they all like went into the place and took did found out this whole operation with the two brothers.
How long ago are we talking about this story? When was this?
Oh, I don't know, man. I want to say
Like 100 years ago, something like that.
something. It might be less.
Okay.
It's definitely not what you would consider like modern,
Okay.
or I guess contemporary, right? Because modern's like anything after,
The
which is weird.
1940s, I guess. But
Yeah, which is weird.
uh,
It's a weird word to use. Anytime you're like, this is this is the time, right? This is today, the present.
right.
That it never age. It literally ages like milk because the next day it's not that anymore.
Oh, you mean like the remake of a Time Machine where it's like the present and the present is very obviously 2002? It's like,
Yeah,
oh my
yeah.
god. Yeah. Yeah.
I was just talking
Yeah.
about that movie with some coworkers.
Really?
Cause I watched it. I was talking about it because I was remembering just the best scene in that movie, or at least the one I go to as like that's the reason you watch the movie.
Uh-huh.
Is there's one where he goes into the future and he's not there for long, but it's where the apocalypse happens, and they
Yeah.
don't tell you much. The only
Mm-hmm.
thing you get is a panic flurry of people running in the streets,
Mm-hmm.
and you get one shot, and the moon is like obliterated,
Yeah.
and then it cuts, and he's back. He's still traveling, and I'm like, that's the coolest thing ever because of that sequence. And then there's nothing else in that movie that's as good.
Oh, I agree. It,
Yeah,
it's a pretty it's a pretty middling film. I
yeah.
did like about
It's a
that, well,
very
because
6 or 7.
I would put it as 6
Yeah,
solidly. Like
yeah. I'd say 6.
the Time Machine, I think, was like one of the first novels I read by myself as a kid.
The
So
Jules
it's like,
Verne. Yeah.
oh yeah, the classic.
Oh, 40,000 Leagues Under the Sea was like one of the first. That dude likes fish.
Is the Time Machine Jules Verne or is it H.G. Wells? I think.
I think it's Jules Verne. Hang on, let me
Oh,
see.
my mistake.
I'll look it up. You go
All
ahead.
right. The one thing I really look forward to that the 22 movie the O2 movie does that the 60s movie doesn't
You're
do
right.
because I
H.G. Wells. My bad.
nice.
Yeah,
No worries.
totally right.
He there's a scene after because the apocalypse does happen in the book. Like
Yeah,
there's like a cataclysm,
yeah.
and then there's a point where he goes like some ridiculous number into the future, like an 8-digit
Oh
year
yeah,
in the
because he
future or
falls
something.
asleep in the machine or whatever.
Exactly. And when he wakes up, like the description in the novel is so dystopic and upsetting.
Mm-hmm.
The movie kind of gets there. Is like, oh, the sun has expanded because it's
Yeah,
about to die. The star is our star is dying.
yeah,
The atmosphere has more or less boiled away to almost nothing.
yeah,
So the planet is just salt flats
yeah,
everywhere.
yeah.
And then he describes,
It's Van
and
Max.
then the mountains started to move, and I realized they were giant crabs.
Hell
And
yeah.
there's something so profoundly like upsetting about like, oh no, the world is just like monster crabs, and that's all that's
Crap.
left.
Yeah,
Is is like a silly thing when you explain it out loud, but in the context of the novel, it's like, oh, that is like that would bum me out. I would not want to
Mhm.
see that happen.
So,
Crab people take the world. Um, um,
uh,
uh,
but yeah, man. No, because that is not at all the apocalypse in the movie in the 2002.
mhm.
It's because that one focuses on like evolution started again type deal.
Yes,
We
yes,
restart. It's literally a restart of and it splits, and there's the underground people and the above surface people. A
that
little bit more 70s in that sense, but
like class. Well, yeah, in the book, like class itself literally divided the human evolutionary tree. Like
yes, yeah,
poor people lived short, comfortable-ish lives.
yeah.
Uh, you know, and
Which,
then
yeah,
yeah,
which, yeah, is like is a really neat idea in the sense that like if we do this long enough, it literally becomes part of the DNA type deal.
yes, yes.
Which is not, as we found out, is not that crazy of an idea. In fact, like generational trauma exists, but like,
Yeah, yeah.
so it's weird. Good job, H.G. Wells. You got that. Shit.
Nailed it. He
Nailed
nailed
it.
it.
Way ahead of its time. Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
one last thing. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
he was also like one of the last He was one of the first writers who like the novelty of describing culture changing was
Yeah.
that was already like so like the opening part where he's like, I watched the ladies' dresses go up and down in the window shop, and then I made it to 1968. Oh, the dresses were very strange, and like people didn't give a shit about that. Like, nobody thought about that. So
Yeah.
like, I think H.G. Wells did give him a good bit of thought.
Mhm.
Anyway, let's jump further into this
Yeah.
monster.
So we're, as I told Ian before we started the podcast, so I'm gonna lay down some rules for this just so we can make sure that we don't do what we just did and go off the rail. And keep it Halloween and spooky themed.
Mhm.
So what we're gonna do is we each get to talk about one thing that's not Halloween related. We're gonna do that first. We're gonna get that shit out of the way.
Okay.
Um, and then we're gonna speak maybe two or three things Halloween related.
Okay.
Maybe three now because I don't know if Nick is gonna be able to make it today.
All right.
Uh, so let's start with the one thing that is not Halloween or spooky related. Would you like to go first, Ian, or would you like me? Because I definitely got one.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Got
Start
it.
us off.
Okay. I watched an anime for
Oh.
the first. It's the first time since Ranking of Kings, and I thought that one
Okay.
was good.
Okay.
Animation was obviously beautiful. The story was like it's predictable, but it's like it's still charming and uh gets you that like, yeah, he's doing it, type inspiration thing.
Mhm.
I watched Cyberpunk Edge Runners on Netflix.
Ooh, and how was that, sir?
Okay, so you have you heard the show?
I have heard of the show. Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, so Cyberpunk Edge Runners might be my favorite anime in a long time.
Really?
It might also be one of the best cyberpunk stories I've seen or witnessed or like experienced in a
Okay.
long fucking time.
Okay.
This is not to put down Stray, which I really like, and I love that perspective of it.
Mhm.
Um, because like I think Stray does something that I feel like people don't mention this bit, but Stray is literally like you're seeing it from one of the a different perspective,
Mhm. Mhm.
right? Not only non-human, but something that's kind of ignored. The
Yeah.
animals perspective and all that.
Yeah.
Especially cats. It's adorable. It leads to a cute little get to play as a cat. Um,
No.
and then what was the other cyberpunk story that I was like, that was good. Well, either way, okay, I'm gonna stay on Edge Runners. I'm gonna try not to spoil stuff for you, Ian, because I would highly recommend this to you.
Okay. Okay.
Uh, Okay, so one of the things I've talked about here, and I feel like I've said it so much that's kind of annoying at this point, but I've talked about how there's just not punk and cyberpunk anymore in
Yes,
a
we have
lot of
talked a
things.
little bit about that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I would still think that holds true to a lot of stuff,
Hmm.
especially when it's used as an aesthetic rather than actually thinking about or talking about the themes it's going for.
Right.
Um, this 100% puts the punk into cyberpunk.
Oh, okay.
Very upfront. It's one of those things people say it, and it's I would agree. The city is like the main character. Um,
Okay.
where the set, well, I guess the setting, right? But like, I mean, it's a cyberpunk thing of life is cheap. Life is dirt fucking cheap. No matter who you are, no matter how like much you struggle or try to get into a higher position, your life is it's dirt cheap. It means nothing to this to this machine.
Hmm.
Um, the yeah, there's the bottom rungs, there's the higher rungs, just cold like awful things you see now where it's like insurance policies, for instance, are way worse in that setting. But even though they're still bad, but you see you could, if you thought about it, you could see the natural evolution of these things.
Okay.
um but at its core, it does the thing I love. At its core, you it's character driven. It's you fall in love with all these characters for all their faults, for all their people, and you start really feeling it because, as I've said before, the setting's really cold. It's some of the most gorgeous art you'll look at, by the way. Background art. In fact, one of the problems with the show, I would argue, is
Hmm.
that there's so much going on. I don't even, you know what? That's not a problem. There's so much going on, you're gonna have to rewatch scenes because you're gonna
Okay.
be like, my eyes can't take everything,
Okay.
type deal. But it's these people who are trying to live in this setting and are finding connections with others, and that's the only thing that keeps them like essentially going.
Okay. Okay.
In a very, and I could talk about more of that sense, but I would have to spoil things.
Okay.
Um,
Sure. Do you
okay.
feel like the show is really fleshing out like more? Is there any more kind of world, any more like detail of, oh, here's some more stuff that's going on in this world that you may not have known about, or
I don't know because I'm not familiar with his original work,
okay.
the Russian author, right?
Okay.
If I'm getting it right, because I know the game is based off that.
Hmm.
I I will say this: Studio Trigger got a different writer.
Okay.
Um, they got an out of house writer, and he's, I think, a Russian
Oh.
uh novelist or a Russian writer.
Okay.
Um, and it very much shows because I think this is the most coherent and best written story that
Okay.
they've ever done. The
Oh.
only one I would argue, although like I say that, but Kill la Kill and Little Witch Academia are actually really good for what they're purposely doing.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
Also, shout out to Little Witch Academia. It has one of my favorite title drops I've ever seen in anything. Um, I won't spoil it because it's like, even if I told you, you wouldn't believe me. Cyberpunk Edge Runners is by far, it's exploring these themes of like what kind of world this would actually lead to, and these people and
Hmm.
how they would react to
Hmm.
everything. That was
Hmm.
one complaint I saw kind of going around on Twitter. I could be wrong on like how big this is, but I know people were saying characters were making really stupid decisions,
Hmm.
and I'm watching it. I'm going, no, dude, I fully understand what they're how like the line of logic for each of these
Right.
decisions, right?
Right.
Because because one of them's like older teenager. Um, I actually want to say he's 18, but I'm not sure. Uh, but like decisions he's making, I'm like, dude, when you're in a world where you're just everything's like the if you quote unquote make the right decision in this world, you're just becoming part of the machine, and eventually you will be just spit up,
Hmm.
and you'll
Hmm.
just be slightly more comfortable than where you're at. Versus going for the people who actually like are showing care for you or affection, and making some kind of mark as like a feeling of rebellion. However futile that might be
Mhm.
towards the end, it's something, right? It's something you can get a hold of.
Right.
Um, I'm just gonna try not to spoil. If you watch it, I would love to do like a deep dive on these characters because I really do think the writing is top notch.
Okay.
Um, uh, other than the writing, beautifully animated. Some of the best fucking action. Visceral action scenes. Fucking Trigger doing it. It's a very hard R.
Okay.
Very hard R. There's sex. There's violence. There's everything. It's great. The show's great. It's fantastic. It's the best. It's one of the best sci-fi things I've read in a long time or read seen.
Okay.
Um, Again, trying not to spoil. Soundtrack's top notch.
Okay.
It made me look into Franz Ferdinand. Like of all
Really?
fucking bands, yeah. Okay, so here's my thing, right? Here's the experience
Yeah.
I had. The
Yeah.
opening, I won't say what song it is. The opening is a Franz Ferdinand song, which
Mhm.
already that kind of like took me out of the thing.
Yeah.
And I went, they're still making music, and my brother goes, yeah, they're actually pretty good at at stuff. I'm like, what? But like, Take Me Out was like 10 years ago or something, and no, I think it was less. I think it was more. I think it's like almost 20. Hang on,
Take Me Out. That shit came out in like yeah, like 2003, four. It's like
I want to say
20 years
four.
old.
I want to say it's 2004.
Yeah, man.
Uh, and he's like, I thought it was just a one hit thing, and he went, well, a lot of people thought that, and then Nick's like, but they kept going and they made stuff, and a lot of their stuff's better. And I'm like, yeah,
Uh,
because this song sounds way better
their
than Take
their
Me Out.
album Michael is not bad at all. I'd recommend Michael. Like that's a
Michael,
pretty good.
okay.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I might really give them a listen because I'm like, I like this song. I
Mhm.
think it's a lot more interesting than Take Me Out. I think it's got a lot more things going on, but because I like the way it plays out.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, the soundtrack's top notch. It really is. There's one song that I cannot say because it is spoilers
Okay.
that I've been listening to on loop because I think I will say this. There's a black metal song in there. That one, it's
Okay.
like it's cool to see a black metal song, like actual black metal, in
Okay.
an anime, and
Mhm. Mhm.
I love the song right now. I think
Okay.
it totally matches with what they were doing, and I get the tone. And I again, God, if I go into why I like it, it would probably spoil something. But I think it matches the themes I've kind of alluded to.
How long is the series running?
10 episodes. It's a tight 10 episodes, dude.
Okay.
Every
Okay.
second's used incredibly wisely,
Mhm.
and it's great. Again, some of the best action you'll see.
Okay. Well,
Imaishi doing his thing, and if you like Imaishi, you're gonna fuck shit.
I do. All right.
Mm.
I'm down. I'm
Yeah,
down.
absolutely, highly recommend.
Okay. All right. Sounds
Favorite
good,
anime
man.
I've seen in a long time. I don't know if it's the best because I just haven't watched as much as I used to.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like college where I would give like, all right, season
Binge.
came out, I would watch 2 or 3 episodes
Right, right.
each. That I can't do that shit no more.
Man, I remember this is a brief aside. I'll keep it
Yeah,
brief, but I remember back in like early college, there was a magazine you could subscribe to, and
yeah.
they would send you like five free pilots on a DVD with the magazine every month. It was excellent.
That sounds
I loved.
fucking awesome.
It was dope, dude. It was very expensive for the early 2000s. Um, but that was where I first read about Rebuild being announced and
Okay.
all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Kind of wish there was something like that again, where you could do like a sampler. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Like,
yeah, but they would never do disc anymore. I don't even think like because the only perspective I know that from is like music magazines. They put a
mm-hmm.
CD on it, and I know some indie zines. Shout out to I believe it's Invisible Oranges. A friend of mine uh, writes and like started that scene.
Oh,
They
nice.
do small demo disc. I don't know if they're demo disc, sampler discs
Mm-hmm.
of different metal bands going on.
Okay.
So shout outs to
Okay.
them. They're keeping the old because I love that shit.
Yeah.
Huge fucking fan of that. It's new
Nice.
music. It's people picking out new music for you. So
Yeah, that
yeah,
is pretty cool. Invisible Oranges. I'm gonna have to take a look at Invisible Oranges.
doing great work. Doing great work.
Okay.
Highly
Alright.
recommend those guys.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's my That's my thing.
Okay.
I'll say it right now. You can kind of see the book in the back. I'm reading Jason Pargin's new book.
If you're
Uh,
in this universe, something's gone wrong.
if you're
Something like that.
if you're reading this book, you're in the wrong universe.
That's it.
Um,
Okay.
so far so good. I haven't finished it, so I'm not going to talk about it, but
Okay.
it's
Fair
great. It's that fuck. I've already laughed. I'm only like 2 or 3 chapters in, and I've laughed like really fucking hard. It's really great.
enough. Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice, man.
But yeah, Ian, what's a non-Halloween thing?
I'm gonna go kind of the mirror version of your non-Halloween pick
Yeah.
with Cyberpunk. I'm going with traditional Japanese. So I think
Mm-hmm.
I think last pod I brought up a book of philosophy that I'd read that I really liked.
Okay.
It's an essay called "In Praise of Shadow" by Junichiro Tanizaki.
Yeah.
So the short version of that from last month, I believe, just to catch everybody up, was it's basically an essay written in the late 30s by this Japanese writer,
Yeah.
and he's kind of like bemoaning or like mourning the fact that Japan has become westernized and that certain specific aspects of actually it's not even culture, it's just design. He
Mm-hmm.
talks a lot about design and aesthetic and
Yeah.
how the Japanese people are now kind of like, oh well, the western thing must be good, it's better, it's new, it's this and that. And
Yeah.
so his essay in Praise of Shadows is basically like, nah, we liked it when it was dark, and we liked when metal was tarnished, and
Yeah.
that's what's good. We liked eating in a dark room, so dark you couldn't tell what you were putting in your mouth.
Yeah.
Like, and kind of talking about these traditions of like, for example, going to the Japanese Imperial Hotel,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, yeah, I went to the Japanese Imperial, and he does come off as kind of a bitch.
I was gonna say something real quick, but
Yeah.
no, go ahead, finish, because I think I have a bigger idea to talk about for this.
He goes to the Japanese Imperial Hotel, and he's very disappointed to learn that they've put electricity in the building. And he's like, can you like just bring me a candle for my table so I can have like really good miso soup? I need a candle though. I can't enjoy.
I like
my
pouring
soup
the
without a
wax into my. Because I'm reading the date on this. It's 1903.
Oh, is it 1903?
Yeah, so this is before a lot of things.
Wait, In Praise of Shadows by
Oh,
Junichiro
1933. Okay.
33. Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
in between the world wars. Yeah.
That's exactly right. Well, yeah. I mean, listen, there is an element of that in the book. If we want to hang a lampshade on it, like.
I was gonna say something, but like, yeah, go ahead.
But so I was then going to say that I then actually read one of his novels.
Okay.
So I picked up the novel by Tanizaki called The Maids, which was the last book he wrote before he died.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I honestly picked it up because in Praise of Shadows, he kind of makes all these allusions to like, my work, I like to talk about the old world.
Yeah.
And I feel like my work is now a chronicle of the old world dying and the new world being born.
He would be writing in that transitional period.
So I mean, yeah, it's a huge thing.
Yeah.
So like the novel The Maids, for example, for one thing, talks about the huge shift. This novel covers, I believe, right before World War I, all the way up to 1961.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a very long novel either. It's about 170, but I finish it in about a day. But so the book is about 4 to 6 women who work for a man who is clearly just a renamed Junichiro Tanizaki. Like, it's
Okay.
about him.
It's me.
Yeah. And he basically just like airs these women's gossip in the book by just changing their names around. But so that's
You know
interesting.
what? Again, going back to our thing, why come up with fiction when people are so fucking fascinating? Like,
People are like, well, so and here's the thing. I was just gonna
yeah,
briefly go over a handful of, like, I did genuinely learn things I didn't know about Japanese history from the book that were
yeah.
interesting and that really wouldn't come up again. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so if if you're someone who likes to read literature like I do and get like a taste of a time,
Yeah.
like
You like
I
to
think
read.
that, you like to read. I like to
Yeah.
read. So there's like a scene in here where they talk about, like, at the beginning of the book,
Mm-hmm.
the maids all have names that are given to them by their master.
Okay.
So like
Well, that's
if
fun.
you have a girl named Shinichiro,
Yeah.
the master reserves the right to just call you Sin, and that's it, or whatever it might be.
Yeah. Whatever.
Whatever they decide.
It's a pet
A-
name, is what it
I
is.
mean, yeah,
That's
kind of.
core.
And then by the time you hit the 1940s,
Yeah.
the author is like, it's so weird. The girls don't like it when I give them names anymore. they, they, they just expect to be called by their name. Uh, and then by the time you get to the 1960s,
Yeah.
he's no longer kind of aghast at these changes. By the 60s,
Yeah.
the narrative.
Oh, he's had like 30 fucking years too, and a war to to iron that shit out.
But by 60, he's like, oh yeah, some of the girls even want me to use san after their name with respect, but like, I guess whatever. Things are sure different. They don't even like being. Oh yeah, that's another thing. Like, there's a whole chapter in the middle where he's like, maids don't even like to be called maids anymore. You have to call them helpers now. I can't. It's but there's other stuff.
It's just this dude complaining about change. Like, he's your.
Oh yeah, like, I would say that 80% of his body of work sounds like it's complaining about fucking. Why do stores have light bulbs in them now?
It's just like, is it one of those things you want someone to grab him by the shoulders and go, "You're old man, and get with the times"?
I mean, there's an element of it, but it's also like his position feels so foreign, so alien to me, that it just feels like, oh, this is fascinating psychology.
Yeah.
Like, this is.
I get that, where it's so crazy, and so like, and it's such a different. Yeah, it's foreign is the best way.
Yeah.
That you kind of disassociate from that, and it becomes like this. God, I'm using that word again, and I'm pretty sure I'm using it wrong. That anthropological like perspective,
No, it is.
right? Yeah.
There's a quality of that, like.
Yeah.
So for example, one other thing I wanted to mention, because I knew nothing about it, and I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. Was, so in the novel The Maids, Tanizaki talks about how the focus of the novel is his rural house. So in Praise of Shadows, he talks about how, like,
my house is the best house.
My house is so rad because I moved away from Tokyo, where all the Western lovers are.
Yeah.
And I built a kick-ass house on the west side of Japan that's like old-timey.
Dude moved to the suburbs.
Exactly. Dude moved to the woods. But as a result of that, he then like goes into like all the staff I hire. Like, I mean, I it seems like, I don't know, he's clearly of an upper class, clearly, but I also,
if he has the money to do that shit,
I'm not sure how
100%.
common servants were also. You know what I mean? Like, but by which I mean, like, this is,
it's definitely money, like certain level of money, right?
Well, because it's like, I knew a boy who grew up in Bolivia, and he was like, oh yeah, most people have a maid that comes in.
Yeah,
like, that's not
I've actually
weird.
talked about that with people. Yeah.
But anyway, so ignorant of that, but he then describes like all the maids as being women from the countryside, like really, really like to strike it home,
Yeah.
as far away from what has been touched by Western hands as is possible.
Uh-huh.
And so there's like this whole scene I thought was fascinating where he's like, "Oh yeah, Western girls have practice marriages," and so I like because they're not living with their family anymore, I have to kind of act as a parent figure to some of these girls who work for me.
Yeah.
And some of them will go out and I'd never heard of this practice. I thought it was kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
They will basically set up a date between two parents. The parents are like, "Oh, we think our kids would be good together."
Okay.
And then you just go live with them. And then if you don't like it within the next 5 months, no matter what you did, no matter what, no harm, no foul against you. You're both done. And then we just try it again with someone else. And
That
like
is kind of cool,
that's
right?
like super progressive,
Yeah.
actually.
That's like, yeah, that's weird. That's weird.
Uh,
Yeah. Hmm.
and then he's like, "Yeah, isn't that kind of weird? We don't even do that in Tokyo. Like that's super weird, right, guys?" But um, the
That's pretty
maids
cool.
is yeah, it's pretty cool. The
Yeah.
maids is a really fun novel. Um, it's I'll give one piece of content warning in it.
Okay.
Just because there is one scene that might trigger people. I'm not trying to be facetious. Might trigger people.
Yeah.
Where
Content warning. Yeah.
Tanazaki's master character learns that one of his maids, who does not speak in a very feminine manner,
Oh.
um, has been having an affair with another maid.
Okay.
And so
Oh, you
basically,
can't have that.
but here's the weird part, because Tanizaki like keeps promoting this idea of being untouched by the West, or
Yeah.
at least wanting to be.
Yeah.
And so in this segment, he's like, okay, Japanese people really don't have a problem with gayness. Like queerness is like an issue from outside. But also my wife can't have this,
Oh,
so
this is
gotta
him
bet all
saying. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Just making sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
I was about to say, Ian, we might have to have a talk. But
yeah.
but oh,
uh,
sorry to interrupt. I'm just clarifying here.
no. So no harm is brought to a person, but like basically the resolution is him trying to talk his wife down from having a meltdown about this
Yeah.
because their maids were having sex in their bed. So,
Nice sleep
uh,
there. I don't
yeah,
want.
you know what? Even if you're not homophobic, like inconsiderate for others. Uh, and
This dude's
so yeah,
wild.
there's a scene where he's basically like wrestling with this with his wife, and he's like,
No.
"Yeah, but that whole attitude you have is just because of Americans or this and that." And she's like, "Yeah, but I'm still gonna need you to set that bed on fire. Just we're gonna start over." And so that is a scene in the book. I was like, okay.
Fucking weird.
It's a wild book, man.
This is wild. People are crazy, dude.
Oh man, 1945. What a year! What a
Yeah.
year it was.
Okay.
Um,
I have a couple of things to say about this whole thing. I wanted you to finish, and
yeah,
hopefully I remember all the topics I want to talk about.
yeah.
One, I keep saying people are crazy, but like one of the biggest fears in writing, I don't know if you have this, existential fears,
Mhm.
is that, and I think straight up the only solution is you just have to accept this.
Yeah.
Otherwise you're in denial.
Mhm.
Real life will be 100% more interesting. Real people
Yes.
will be 100% more interesting, like thousand exponential,
Yeah.
than whatever bullshit you can come up with.
There is, and I don't want to take too long on this, but you're
Yeah.
absolutely right. Yes,
I
you're
feel
you're
like I've been wrestling with this for years, and it was only until recently that I really started watching stuff about people and like really like observing people. And
mhm.
I went, yeah, there's nothing I can do. There's no
Have
way. There's no way.
I'm not I'm not caught up with it, but I would
Yeah.
recommend, like, to your point, if you haven't seen The Vow, they just brought it back for a
Wow.
second season. It's about
Yeah.
a lawsuit against the Nexium cult, the sexual slavery
Oh, okay. I
cult.
think I've heard of this. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and they're getting people. They're like they are convicting
Yeah.
successfully. So thank God for that. But like, if you watch Keith Raniere, like
Yeah.
Keith Raniere looks like he's gonna play the nerd in a 1980s movie.
Uh-huh.
Like you don't assume, but he is probably one of the most successful human trafficker of women in North America. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
so like that's on its face already bananas. Like, what if we cast Chucky Finster from the Rugrats and then
Yeah.
made him a sex trafficker? Like, yeah, it's the real world is bananas enough, man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness.
Um. Okay. So second thing was about the book you're talking about.
Yes. Yeah.
Um. When writing that kind of stuff, that things don't look as good anymore than they used to.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I do think there are definitely topics to discuss. I think recently there was that viral TikTok, right, where this person, she was talking about like architecture
Mm-hmm.
or design and how like color's been on the decline and just everything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And granted, my argument with that video is that, well, she's just not saying, and maybe she doesn't know or she's choosing to ignore, but it's
Mm-hmm.
because of like there is a capitalistic nature in that. It's a lot easier to make that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
to make a uniform, to make you be able to see stuff from the get go,
Mm-hmm.
and not
I
have
mean,
to actually think, right?
yeah, I mean, hey guys, if you're
Yeah,
listening to this in the LA area, if you're listening to any metro area,
yeah,
you probably have architecture that's like, what do you call it? Shingled cladding. You know,
mm,
like so many fast food restaurants,
yeah,
so many apartment buildings, so many townhouses. They just have like this kind of patchwork colored boxes that they
yeah,
bolt to the outside of the building, and it's because it's cheap.
yeah.
It's very cheap to do.
Mm-hmm.
um, and it's, you know, I agree. I don't think it's very pleasant to look. I don't think it's very
Absolutely.
stimulating.
I would love,
Like,
yeah, the color and everything. Now, here is the thing about talking about this topic
yeah.
is that there is a very fine line you will tread where
Mhm.
at some point it becomes either I just don't like the new thing, right? Um,
Right.
and that obviously depends on the subject, and then you sound like you're a crazy old person, which you probably are if you're aging
Probably.
it late. Yeah.
Yeah.
I admit I am to some things where I'm just like at some point I yell about things. I go, it's because I'm just old and I don't want to. Um, two,
Mm.
two.
Mhm.
The more dangerous aspect of this is the nationalistic,
Oh yeah.
and the term nostalgia for disease. I think more dangerously applies
Mhm.
nostalgia as a disease. We're wishing for the old times and just choosing to ignore the
The
bad
progress.
shit. Yeah,
Right.
the progress you've made, as well as the awful, horrible things that were going on that you just happened to not remember or didn't
Yeah.
experience around
Exactly.
that time. I
Exactly.
still
I mean,
talk about like we're still fucking bringing stuff back from the 80s, which was like 40 years ago now.
yeah.
Um, and will soon be half a century.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the 80s were fucked up, dude. Does anyone remember the Iranian hostage crisis, the market crashing again, and like,
Okay, dude, I want to get more into a related topic, but I don't
yeah,
want to get too ahead. But I will say this:
absolutely. We
last
still got to
night,
talk about Halloween shit.
la- oh my god, yes.
Yeah,
Last night I was talking with some folks. We had a little watch,
yeah.
and we were talking about the what sequels from a horror movie work. Like, which
Okay,
ones are still like technically like, oh, you know what, that is a good movie on its own merits.
yeah.
Whatever.
I can
Uh,
think of some, but go ahead. I don't want to
I
get lost in that topic. I want to get to the point you're talking about.
the point was going to be that like then we brought up Freddy versus Jason 2003, I think,
Okay.
is when that came
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we're like,
Yeah.
do you remember how many times the F slur gets thrown around in that movie? It's
Yeah.
more than I remember.
Yeah.
It was several times.
Dude,
Uh,
okay. I got another one for you. Do you remember Master of Disguise?
yes, I do.
Have we
Yes, I
talked
do.
about how that movie starts out?
You mean the brown face?
Yeah,
Gentleman?
dude. Fucking just right there. It's the
What's
whole
so fucked
scene.
up? I was a kid. I loved that movie as a little
I
boy.
had a
Like,
cousin who introduced me to that movie. Yeah, I also liked it as a kid, and that was her favorite movie, like as a kid.
wow. Yikes.
And then I hadn't watched it for 20 something
Sure.
years.
Sure.
And then someone was like, "I'm gonna watch Master of Disguise for the first time," and it just went, "Holy fucking shit!" It starts with brown face, and then I went, "What?" And I totally didn't remember that scene, dude. But it's fucking wild. I got another one. Okay, you know what? For anyone who doesn't know, I implore you to watch the Resident Evil 5 trailers
Mm-hmm.
that were coming out to preempt that game. Have you seen those, Ian? Oh, hang on. I think your mic's muffled.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I have seen the RE5, the Africa.
Yeah.
Tribal Africa.
Oh, yeah.
They're not sick, right? They're just like dudes that you're killing, right?
They're infected.
Okay.
But obviously, the horror is the other.
These
Which-
tribesmen. Yeah.
Which is not unprecedented in our. This is not just a solely RE5 thing. RE4 is also starts off with the horror of the other, but it happens to be an undisclosed town in Spain.
Yeah.
That's obviously like a rundown like remnant of like hundreds of years ago, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
And it's supposed to play off the Spanish Inquisition. The RE5 one is a lot less thinking. And
Oh,
my
it's
dude,
it's kind of borrows from colonial imagery.
it's
that
fucking
movie.
wild. Those trailers are fucking wild. and then the funniest thing, I was hearing this on a podcast recently, Cast Super Beats,
Mhm.
where Pat was like, and then there was a moment after all those trailers. This is me speaking as him, right?
Yeah.
What he said, where I was like, okay, maybe it's not. Maybe they're playing off the thing, and it's not, and it'll get the themes will be more explored, like it was in RE4 towards the end. And then he played and went, "Oh God, I sounded like a fucking asshole." When, like he's looking back and going, I was that sounds fucking crazy what I said, because
Yeah.
Ian, I don't know if you remember.
Mhm.
Did you play it?
I didn't play it. No, I didn't play it myself.
So you need to look up the level, man, because there is a level where the
Okay.
filter becomes blue
What?
and a spear is thrown at you
What?
and there are masks.
Oh no.
Dude, that game is
Oh.
fucking wild. That game is
no.
like crazy.
So, I
Oh,
I'm-
the
not
game,
bringing
dude.
I'm not bringing this up to specifically deride anyone, but just because it's at the top of mind right now.
Yeah.
Like, because I also was recently talking about this. Like, speaking of, we're talking about future things moving
Uh-huh.
forward and what's normal and all that.
Yeah.
Like, man, do you remember when we were in high school and Robert Downey Jr. did that one movie? And
What?
I'm looking
Tropic
back
Thunder.
on it.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah.
And like, so what was going on? What was going on, guys?
So the thing with that one, it is like at its core, and thinking about it, I still think it's wrong to do that choice.
Yes.
But on the other hand, I get what they were going for in the sense that the joke is method actors are fucking crazy.
And this is super inappropriate.
And it's super inappropriate what they're doing on that level. And 3,
Right.
that is the final. That is like the end game, right? Is you get you'll get some method actor who just does blackface or gets surgery and like does it to gain character, because also Hollywood won't hire black actors for a lead role, or any person of color for a lead role.
And
especially around that time. It's changed a lot, but
I
not
can definitely
that much,
appreciate that for sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's
like,
the heart's in the right place.
Mm-hmm.
You probably could have done it better.
Could have probably. Why not just cast? Here's what you should have done: cast
Yeah.
a black actor, and then keep cutting away to Robert Downey Jr. and be like, "Oh no, that is him. That's him. He did
Well,
get work done."
they kind of do have that with the rapper character.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
It's why
you're right.
Tropic Thunder's so fucking weird when you talk about.
It's super fucking weird. It's a
I
super
still
fucking weird.
think at the end of the day though, yeah, you probably should have chosen a different way to do that.
I think the only movie that I stand with what you just said. I
Yeah,
think the only movie that I've come closer to being like, okay,
yeah,
but I still don't was
yeah.
Cloud Atlas,
Oh,
and
I still
then
haven't
we'll
seen
move
Cloud
back into
Atlas. Yeah,
Halloween. We'll
yeah,
move back into Halloween, but just to say, Cloud Atlas at least had interesting ideas about like, oh, race are artificial, barriers that we put up between
yeah,
ourselves, this kind of thing, and
yeah,
but also like you did put a man in Chinese makeup, which is a
yeah.
bit,
Yeah. And it becomes even weirder. Like, um, say what you will about the Wachowski twins, and I do like their work.
yeah,
Um, they're still white. Like, and
yeah.
that becomes a weird thing to from
Well,
that perspective, right? Like,
and again, you know what? I apologize for even bringing it up because I'm realizing all the other shit I want to say. Like,
yeah,
gender is not race. They're not comparable. You can't anyway. Yeah,
that's a
you
whole
know what?
big topic. Yeah, we can explore.
Maybe we'll talk about that some other
Yeah.
time. But
Anyway, movies are crazy, and video
movies are
games are nuts.
oh
Like,
my goodness. This
fucking
oy.
ah. Dude, RE5's fucking wild. I implore you to
Okay.
and I beat that game and I when it came out cuz or at least when the gold edition cuz
Mhm,
it's
mhm.
really fun in co-op. But
Okay.
boy, those levels, huh? What the
Just
fuck were they
just
thinking, dude? The
just
fuck were
start
they
with
on?
every level by announcing, "Hello, we've just come in and we've heard you've got some lovely things." And then play um
Oh,
uh, uh
RE5's fucking wild, man.
let's jump into some Halloween stuff, man.
Let's do
I'm
it.
so
Actually, can we
excited.
take a small break? I gotta use the restroom real quick.
Sure thing.
2 or 3 minutes, and we'll be back. And it's all Halloween. It's all fun Halloween. So
Halloween.
instead of talking about fucking
Race.
crazy things are and just the shit people say and do, and like, the world's crazy. But we'll have some fun with all. Okay, okay. We'll be right back in about 2 or 3
Alrighty.
minutes. Intermission time. Where is the intermission button? Hang on, there we go. Hey, look at that. All right, be right back.
All right. Ready?
Back. I just realized that for the intermission thing, I still had spoilers for Clerks 3.
This whole discussion has been about Clerks 3. Did you guys not get that?
No, it wasn't playing on the other stuff, but it was playing on the intermission
Okay.
for whatever fucking reason. Because I left it there is the reason. But was I gonna? Oh, let me know when you watch Clerks 3, by the way, so we can. I want to do a discussion on nostalgia at some point.
Yes.
Um, just like the very nature of it, because I've been having a lot of conflicting feelings about it.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay, Halloween. Do you want to talk about? Do you want to start off with your first Halloweeny
Sure.
subject? Spook or spooky. It can be anything. Fucking.
I got a spooker.
Go for it.
I got a spook town. So last night I watched Halloween Kills.
Oh,
Halloween Ends. Sorry,
Halloween Ends, the new one.
The newest one. Yes.
Yes.
So now I'm all caught up. Have you seen Halloween Ends?
Nah, I haven't seen any of the new stuff. I didn't even realize we're already like 2 or 3 movies in.
We're
for
3 in, dude.
for the new shit.
How much of this do you mind if I get into the meat?
I probably won't watch it. Dude.
Okay.
Like, I love Jamie Lee Curtis. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I have not been hearing good things about these movies.
So, put up a spoiler because I'm gonna fucking ruin this shit.
Got it. Let's do it. Let's fucking hang on. I'll do it. 1 second. Okay. I need to go to. God, I wish this was bigger. Haha. And then do this. Halloween Ends.
Mm-hmm. So,
hang on.
Yep.
I'll let you know when you're good. All right, you're good.
All right. So, I'm gonna do a big top down, but my first takeaway: Halloween Ends is a good movie. Actually,
you think it's good? Opinion. All right.
I think it's a good. I think it's well. Here's the thing: it is 90% a good movie,
okay.
and then the ending kind of fucks it up. But
it.
The other 90%, like the first 90% of the movie is so fucking good. Actually, I really liked it.
Okay.
So I'm of the opinion very strongly that people's dislike of this movie in particular is because of how different it is. It's very different.
Got it.
It is,
which isn't unprecedented in Halloween franchise. That's been rebooted like 3 fucking times.
Yes, I was gonna say this movie honestly has more DNA with Season of the Witch than any.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, I really like Season of the Witch.
Same. And I think people had a similar complaint, which was, why isn't Michael Myers in it more? Mm-hmm. Which, listen, dude. Okay, so my overview of the.
There's been Halloween movies where he barely fucking shows up. Like,
well, like.
Granted, they were a lot of them were the bad ones, so that's not like that's not a invalid complaint, you know, invalid.
Yeah. Yes. I would say so for 2018's Halloween. I thought that was an okay movie. It was not terrible. It was fine. Halloween Kills is dog shit awful.
Yeah, I've heard nothing good about that.
And here are my takeaways from that, and then we'll wrap into the big idea. But I think that Halloween Kills, it kept trying to hit on social issues, but it couldn't really find its footing, in my opinion.
Okay.
I don't have an issue. Listen, the audience, I don't have an issue with films with a message. I think that's wonderful. I love when films have an idea.
I would also argue, I'm of the opinion too, every film has a message whether or not you're trying.
Exactly.
And if anything, that adds to it. But yeah.
So in Halloween Kills, we actually had a duology. Originally, this movie was going to be 2 movies, and then the studio said, Universal says, no, actually, we want
one more.
We want
one more. Yeah.
So Halloween Kills has a rushed feeling. It has this weird clumsiness about it.
Mm-hmm.
And the message of the movie seems to be referring to, like, well, I won't name them by name, but certain real-world groups in that they are victimizing innocent people, blaming victims,
Mm-hmm.
and actually making society worse rather than actually addressing the problem.
Yeah.
Now, okay, that's an idea, that's cool. Except then you like if the movie is mob violence is wrong, we should
Yeah.
not just like listen to the worst of our instincts. You did use mob violence to beat up Michael Myers,
So
though.
that was the
And
only part of the trailer I remember. And
mhm,
then I think I think it was like when I went to go see Candyman,
mhm,
right? And
mhm.
I was sitting with a buddy of mine, and I told him, "Listen, I don't know, this movie doesn't look that good to me, but I totally love the idea of a bunch of people just getting together and stomping the shit out of Michael Myers."
Right. Right. So here's but the problem with it is this
Yeah,
is like so where okay, let me ask you this. Where do
yeah.
you stand on Mike Myers being magic? Or like
Oh, he's.
inhuman in some
I
way?
think after one, he is. There's a force of nature thing, right?
Right.
Isn't
Right.
he summoned? Which movie is it that he's summoned in a ritual?
Uh, 4, the Cult of
Got it.
Thorn, and
Yeah,
4 is where they establish that Michael Myers is actually not possessed by evil, but the spirit of Samhain, who
yeah,
needs blood
yeah,
sacrifices.
yeah, 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 yeah. The movies are fucking wild.
It's wild. Paul Rudd is in it, and he's like, "Hoo boy." Anyway, um, so Halloween Kills, I think, just like kind of missed the mark in regards to it's rushed and it doesn't have a clear opinion on anything, and then it also does the shitty thing of like it can't commit to those ideas because it's like
Mm.
Mike Myers just stands up and then murders the 12 people who beat him up,
Oh,
and they don't explain why. It's just well because he's fucking Mike Myers. He
because he's
doesn't
Mike
lose.
Myers. He can't die. What? He
Yeah,
crazy?
exactly. So, eh, I kind of would have been more interested in the idea that like Halloween 2. Here's my pitch for what Halloween Kills could have been, and I think would have
Yeah,
been better. Mike Myers only kills like 2 or 3 people, is at the periphery of the movie, and barely shows up.
yeah,
And so that way, the rest of the movie is about the town, like, determined we've got to find Evil Dies tonight. We got to find him.
yeah,
And then the mob is victimizing innocent people. That would have been more interesting to
yeah.
me,
Mhm.
potentially. And it would have followed the like logic of the thing more, I guess. But so
But you're not the big
Halloween.
Hollywood writer, man. So like, fucking,
um, so let
that's
me
what
give all
Hollywood
my
says. I don't know if that picks up on Mike.
that is what Hollywood says. Um, uh, so let me give out all the compliments to Halloween Ends.
yeah.
So Halloween Ends has a perfect intro. It is like
Okay.
13 minutes of it's like a 13-minute short film that caps the movie, and it's so good, so
Nice.
good. You're introduced to your protagonist,
Yeah.
who's Corey Cunningham.
Don't know who that is.
He's kind of he's a new character they've just
Oh, the
introduced.
character. I thought it was an actor, but
Yeah.
like,
And I'll be honest, Corey Cunningham. Also, if I was being a bitch, I'd be like, oh, you should have introduced that character way earlier if he's so important. But anyway, uh, Corey Cunningham is the star of Halloween Ends, and
okay.
he's a babysitter,
Hmm.
and they establish that he is going to babysit the Halloween after the last the last 2 movies,
Yeah,
uh, wherein approximately what 39 people were brutally murdered
that's
all in
right.
one night, right?
That's right.
So he sits down, he starts taking care of this little boy who's kind of a brat,
Yeah.
um, and you then start to build up the tension. The boy goes missing.
Yes.
There's spooky sounds, and of course the movie has conditioned you like, okay, here comes Michael. Here
Here
comes
we
Michael
come.
gonna do it. And so the babysitter is getting more and more upset and genuinely really scared.
Okay.
He's running around, looking up and down the house, and eventually he grabs a kitchen knife and starts skulking around the house.
Oh yeah.
And then he heads up to the attic.
Yeah.
Um, and the door slams and locks behind him.
Oh shit.
He's like, "Oh no!" And I guys, I'm spoiling the really good part of this movie just so that you get an idea.
Yeah.
Corey Cunningham is now panicked, looking around. Michael Myers must be coming because like the music is building. He's crying. He's
Yeah.
holding this, and he's doing a fucking great job.
Mhm.
The actor. And so he's like panicking. He's banging, 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 and then he kicks the door open, and then we cut to the entrance hall of this 3-story home
Yeah.
where the staircase is. Mom and dad enter,
Uh-huh.
and they just hear crying and banging sounds. And then you just see a 6-year-old boy fall 3 stories and just in front of his parents when he gets slammed in the face with a door and falls over the railing.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's as funny as it seems to be. In the movie?
It's so abrupt and violent out of nowhere. Like this
Does it
child's
come off
face.
as comedic, or is it like kind of a horror? Like, is it horrible to look at?
Oh no, it's like this child's face looks like a kicked-in pumpkin. Like it's messed up.
But I keep laughing.
And they also cast like an actual little boy. Like he's legit 5 or 6 years
Like
old.
that is a child. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a child who got.
And then the
Slammed.
rehearsal is starting to play in your head about about this.
And so the rest of Halloween Ends is a 4-year jump forward, wherein we learn that Corey Cunningham is unemployed. Well,
Yeah.
he kind of works for a mechanic shop,
Yeah.
but basically everybody in Haddonfield treats him like dog shit every
Yeah.
single day.
Yeah, he killed the child.
He killed a child on accident after
On
the kid
accident.
pranked him. So,
I'm sure it's more serious than what I'm thinking of in my head. But
I loved that intro, dude. I thought it was like,
yeah.
oh, dude, you nailed it. Like you did it so well.
Yeah.
Because it continues on from Mike Myers,
right?
But at the same time, we don't need to rely on him anymore. These people are all traumatized.
Yeah.
You don't need more of that.
Yeah.
So the rest of the movie is Corey Cunningham starting to date Laurie Strode's granddaughter.
Okay.
Because Laurie Strode is now a single grandma now that her daughter died in the last one.
Yes.
And weirdly, like the middle of the movie has a bunch of references to Drive, the Ryan Gosling movie.
What? That's weird.
That's
funny because I just recently rewatched. I think I talked about me recently rewatching the movie.
Yes, you had. It's like, so there's a scene where Corey Cunningham, like wanting to impress Laurie Strode's granddaughter. I'm sorry, I forget her name.
Yeah.
Trades in his bicycle for a motorcycle and gets himself like a jacket. Okay. And so he like, there's scenes in the middle of the movie where they're just filming with primary color lighting. These two teens riding on a motorcycle.
Okay.
But anyway, the build of the movie,
and then a real human being is playing, right?
And a real human being is playing. That's exactly. It's that or Bonnie Vare.
Yeah.
And so then the movie becomes Corey Cunningham, I guess, absorbing evil. Like the movie makes it very clear that evil is literal and real, and it's a substance that can move from body to body.
Okay.
And basically, Mike Myers is still around. He's been picking off people periodically. Yeah. And Corey Cunningham then wrestles Mike Myers into submission upon finding him in the sewers and takes his mask away from him.
Okay.
And basically then starts killing all the people who have treated him like dog shit for the last 40 years. And you're put in a weird position of like, do those people have it coming? Kind of like this was completely disproportionate what this boy went through. Like, but so another Drive reference. He does smash a man's head with his boot.
Oh, with his boot. Okay. Is it in an elevator?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah. Hey, yeah. No, that's a Drive. That's weird. I mean, I guess that movie's kind of old. Like, well, I don't know, a decade, right?
2012 thereabouts.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, speaking of which, this is slightly off topic, but the game was very heavily inspired by this and ultraviolence in general.
Mhm.
Hotline Miami just turned 10, and there's a great article about that,
Oh,
about
dude, send me that. I'd
its
love to.
legacy. Yeah.
I'd love to see
This
that.
is coming from someone who fucking loves Hotline Miami and has always thought about talking about its take on ultraviolence. But anyway,
Perfect music. Just to wrap
yes.
things up, just to come to
Good.
the big ideas. So, uh, you then have a final confrontation,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's a mixed bag. Like I said, I think the end is kind of the weakest part of the whole
Yeah.
deal. Corey Cunningham decides he's going to kill Laurie Stroud because she won't let her granddaughter date him anymore. That's it. So he comes into
The
her
baby
house.
murder.
He
The child
he
murder.
comes into her house and tries to kill her.
You know what?
And
It's not unfounded. I think.
yeah,
You know.
and and then it gets weirder and weird. So here's how it then resolves. So
Yeah.
here's your setup broadly. So you then get a top of Act 3 fight between Corey and Laurie.
Okay.
Um,
Oh.
Corey is easily beaten,
Yeah.
and
If he was
it,
outsmarted by a child, he
yeah.
could. He can be beaten. Yeah.
And so he's on the ground, like looking up at Laurie Stroud
Yeah.
in her foyer, and he hears a car pull up, and he knows that it's the girl he loves. It's her granddaughter,
Oh.
and so he like just looks at her and kills himself to frame her as a psychopath, so that no one will ever trust her again.
The fuck.
Which is, fuck, that's a pretty cool idea, actually.
That's fucking wild.
That's a great idea. But then they immediately, and then like 10 minutes later, her granddaughter comes back because Michael Myers is attacking her. And then and then the end of the movie is killing Michael Myers. So, which is dumb and dog shit, and I hate it.
Okay.
So like, I feel very strongly that what should have happened,
Yeah.
here's how I maybe would have reworked the movie. Keep the first 10 minutes, the 10 minutes are perfect.
Yeah.
Killing the kid, so good. Earlier on, before the end of Act 1, have Laurie and Michael have one more confrontation if you must.
Yeah.
If you must do that. Kill fucking Michael Myers so that we can give a shit about, because I think one of the big problems with the conclusion that technically runs back through the movie is we keep jumping back and forth between Michael Myers is the embodiment of evil, but now Corey might also be the embodiment of evil.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, man, if we're passing the mantle, do it.
Do it.
Like,
yeah. Do it. Come on.
What I mean?
Come on. Do it, coward. Do it. Come on. No, I get what you're saying, because I was gonna ask the question, like, how much Halloween, quote unquote, aspect is there to this? And I mean the movie, not the holiday, but
right,
because it's fucking called Halloween Ends. Like, because from what you're kind of describing to me, it sounds like Michael Myers is just kind of there, and it's not, and it was a different movie.
So my understanding of the production of this was that was the plan. Michael Myers was supposed to be dead at the beginning, or even before the movie starts. Like, he is actually canonically dead, and we can just have a new kind of a new villain in a way, but also the idea of fuck, dude, I love this. We should get into it another time, even deeper. But the idea that, like, essentially, Mike Myers was our understanding of psychosis in the 1970s.
Yeah.
It was,
well,
some people are just fucking bad. Some people just come out wrong. They're evil. And what are you going to do? And Corey Cunningham is a much more contemporary view of, no, he was just kind of normal. And then a bunch of unfair things happened in a row.
Yeah.
And then he was like, you know what? Fuck all this. Fuck this whole town. I'm murdering all of you.
He went through his Joker phase.
Yeah, exactly. But
by the way, that's like one of my new favorite things. It's just there's a small thing that changes, and then some fucking person goes, I'm gonna go through my Joker phase because of this. Uh, sorry, go ahead. I just have
I
to
was
get
just
that
gonna
out.
say, like, I think that Corey. I don't know. Maybe it's me. I'd recommend just to look at it because it's on Peacock
Okay,
now. You can get it for free.
it does sound
Um,
more interesting than what I previously thought it was gonna be, but
like
yeah,
I at least empathize with Corey, even when he starts to go real off
yeah,
the rails.
yeah.
You know what I
You
mean?
get to see the beginning, and then
Like
you get what's
he
going on.
was he was an engineering student who was just like, yeah, I want to move out of Haddonfield and do other stuff,
Yeah,
and like
I want to get out of this fucking
watching this,
place. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Um, so Halloween ends, guys. It's the 13th Halloween movie, and it's wait, listen,
Hey, how many movies are just called Halloween?
four, I think.
It's 4 now, right? It used
It's
to be 3.
Halloween 1976,
Yeah,
Halloween 2018,
Halloween Rob Zombie.
Halloween by Rob. Fuck, Halloween by Rob Zombie. Fuck, I blocked that. I
Yeah,
didn't remember that. There should be another one, isn't there? Or maybe it's
I don't know.
three.
Maybe it is 3. I'm sorry to interrupt. I always think about that.
I mean, it's infuriating.
Yeah,
You're not wrong.
yeah.
You're not wrong. It's an obnoxious way of naming these fucking
It's
things.
also this thing of like, doesn't this soft reboot, because it's considered a soft reboot in the
Yeah.
sense that Halloween 1 and 2 are canon, the original 1 and 2,
Mhm. Yeah.
and then everything else is not in
Yes.
this. So
Well, and so, uh, guys, this is now speculation. Quick speculation talk. From
yeah,
what I understand, I was with my friend who I would say is a bigger horror fan than me,
okay,
conceivably. Good lord.
yeah,
Um, apparently, the current discussion right now is when they do another Halloween. Excuse me. It's going to be probably set in the late '80s, early '90s, and it's going to be something. Oh, it's going to be taking off from the fourth movie. So they're gonna jump off from the weird one that we were making fun of earlier. Like
things just can't die, man.
fucking Evil doesn't
Yeah,
Evil
evil
doesn't die
doesn't
to me.
die. Yes.
I guess that's the moral of the movie, but
That's
it's
the
weird they
moral
didn't
of
make
the
it
movie.
that face.
There's a meta contextual thing going on here. This shambling corpse of a franchise. Like,
You think it goes away, but you people just keep eating the slop down.
just keep,
Yummy
just
piggy.
keep, just keep gobbling up from that trough. Oh, oh fuck,
All right.
dude.
So that's Halloween Kills. I know that went long. I'm sorry, Ben, but
That's all good. If I have to have any input on the Halloween franchise, is I actually share very similar sentiments with Trevor Henderson. He put out a tweet where he said, "My Halloween list is Halloween 1 and Halloween 3 compete for first place. You can order the rest of them however you want. I don't care." And
I'm
then
down with
I
that.
don't think he wrote "I don't care," but I feel like for me it would be I don't care about the rest of that.
I recommend everybody follow Adam Caesar on Twitter. He's a
Adam
great
Caesar.
writer.
Oh, I know that name. Yeah.
He had a tweet about Halloween that I appreciate about ranking them actually as well. But I loved,
Okay.
which was I'm looking at a lot of Halloween rankings, and all I can say is H2O is way too high on everyone's list. Way too.
People fucking forget, man.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that wasn't Redman. That was
Isn't it Coolio in that movie?
no. It's not
Coolio's
Coolio.
in a different one. He's in Scream, I
Coolio's in
think.
Scream.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who is the rapper in H2? Hang on.
No, not Redman. That's
It's
Chuck
not
Norris.
Redman, dude. Yeah.
He does karate. He does karate on Mike Myers. I can't remember. Oh shoot!
I'm looking it up. One
All
second.
right, I'm vamping. I'm vamping here while you find
LL Cool J.
LL. Oh shoot! Was it? Oh
Yeah.
oh my! Wow! God dang! LL Cool J did karate against Mike Myers.
Yeah, man. Did it.
He did do that. She did do that. Alrighty.
I forgot what the poster looked like. But that's such a 2000s poster.
Oh, all the bust shots of all the
Yeah.
actors in a line. Yeah.
All just the upper neck up.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
With that same, I don't even know what to call it. There's like a vignette, not a vignette. A certain way they do the borders of those
Mm.
profiles against the background. But
Right.
all right, I'll take the reins then for for one of the Halloween things.
Go for it.
And this is something we can both talk about.
Okay.
Because I'm going to start off with here's the kids thing I'm going to recommend. That's for everyone, and you know, it's not going to be. It's Halloween. It's Halloween in the sense that it takes place during Halloween. Although there are some, there are some scares, but it's played more for comedic effect, if anything.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of the giraffe. Oh, let me see this. Let me take off the spoilers.
All right.
I watched Owl House episode 1 of season 3, which is the hour-long thing, last night. It's good.
Yeah.
You know what it feels like, dude? You know what it feels like?
What's that?
Remember that joke in season 2, towards the end,
Yeah.
where they're flying somewhere, and Lewis goes, "Yeah, we could have gone to the beach and all if we had time, but we don't, and stuff's happening now, so we gotta take care of that."
Yes.
This feels like let's give them something fun. Let's do the montage of all of them being teenagers together and give it a more fun aspect for like the majority of that film, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, that setup is essentially just letting you know here's what the season would have been.
Yeah. Here's what we would have done. Yeah. But they get it in though. They get it in. I think. Yeah.
They do.
They all get new fits. Luce is wearing a Haruka hat from episode 4, the baseball cap with the cat. I've always wanted that hat, and yeah, you get to have your fun, like they're teenagers being teenagers type thing. Or are they tweens? I actually don't know.
Teen tweens around there.
Yeah,
I think
they're
there. 13, 14.
13, 14. Okay, so around there. Right now, and this was kind of the problem I've talked about with this show, and a lot of it actually has to do with, I think, just time.
Okay.
For this is you don't get too in-depth character explorations with everyone, which is why I kind of liking Hunter's thing in this episode.
Yes,
because it's more human. I would argue.
Yeah.
More relatable topic. Just him trying to find his own identity and everything, who he is, and really,
he's a big dork.
He's a big dork. He and which makes sense for someone who, anytime there's someone who like dedicates themselves to a thing for so long, on some level you're a nerd, like, or a dork.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like how I always think about this. The like gym rats, quote unquote gym rats, are dudes who are always getting like who are really dedicated to fitness.
Mm-hmm.
They're nerds. They're some of the biggest nerds and dorks you'll ever meet.
Oh, totally.
Because you have to be in order to get to that level, right?
You have to be obsessive
You have to be obsessive on some level.
Yeah.
So there's that. It's not, and there's this constant thing of like relating to literature or media. The only other thing talking about characterization is the mom, who is kicking ass in this episode.
Oh yeah.
And I would have liked more time spent with this, I guess, because it was such an interesting idea.
Mm-hmm.
But the turnaround from what we originally thought, which was, I think I said this before, like the metaphor for conversion camp.
Sure.
I think I mentioned at some point or not, which is obviously not what it may be on some level.
Could be.
But it's not really it's kind of like less and less tenuous. It's more and more tenuous as we go on. Especially when it's the school thrusted upon and it's more about like societal like believe
Societal
some.
norms. I think
Yeah,
you could still have made that if it was. I think it would have been different if it was a whole season,
yeah,
just
I think
because.
so. I think it would have been a lot more rougher, right? Like,
Yeah.
in not in the connection sense, but in the sense that like, ooh, don't like
Well,
that.
if you look at the like the montage, which
Yeah,
goddamn beautiful, beautiful. I loved it.
yeah, they're doing it. They're really working with what they got, and they're doing it. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh,
Oh, go ahead. Say what
like
you're.
you have Luz like not wanting to admit to her mom that she will have to go back. She
Yeah.
lied. She lied to her mom. She
Yes.
probably will have to go back, and like she's struggling with that for most of
Hmm.
the story. Then coming out to her mom, which is also like in there.
Yeah.
Then like there's so many kind of instances of Luz just doing things that are not the quote unquote conventional, like
Hmm.
that she's outside of society. So I think all of that could have compounded differently
Yeah.
if it had been a show like, why do you have to be different
Hmm.
in all of these different ways? Can't
Yeah.
you know that kind of thing? But yeah, I get what you mean. I
Yeah.
definitely think that it leaned more towards like conforming to what is expected of you
Yeah.
in the society more.
Which
But
is a very nice parallel to like the witch trials, which they do reference in this episode.
yeah,
Um, which is all about that shit.
yep, well,
Uh,
yep.
People get lost. Like, well, they don't get lost. It is a very important part, which is the accusation thing, which just how easily people can turn for that.
Yeah,
But also at its core, it is about that. It is about people not conforming to their way of thinking or life. Um,
exactly.
that is where the fear stems from. But yeah. So this episode, so it's more like, yeah, a lot of this is this is what we could have had, but we're gonna do it. We're gonna do the small things, and it works. They make it work in the small time frame.
I agree. I agree.
There is a bittersweetness to it, which is kind of running through. It's gonna run through the season for me, no matter what. Which is, yeah,
Mhm.
we could have had more. You could have had more.
Did you
So
see
just
Dana
try to
Terrace's
appreciate.
tweet?
Oh, so, sorry. Go ahead.
Did you see? I think her name. I believe the name is Dana Terrace.
Yeah,
The
I keep
creator.
saying Dana Terrace because I think I don't know why I think I compare it to Dan Cast Nana.
Okay.
Dana
Okay.
Dan okay, Dana or Dana Terrace, yeah. Yeah.
Dana's,
It's probably Dana.
she
Maybe Dana.
they tweeted out shortly after
Hmm.
the thing went up on YouTube. Uh, I've had a contact meeting with Disney. Their official position is, oh shit, it's successful.
No, I hadn't heard. uh, well, too little too late, I
Yeah.
guess. Like,
Yep.
the only thing, here's where I think the silver lining can be for this, right? Because I
Mhm.
kind of wouldn't want more if it ends. Because
Yes.
because then what do you do? Do you do OVAs where it's just fun little things that won't have an arching plot, or and you do and it feels a little tacked on,
Mhm.
right? My thing is just have more faith in whatever they come up with next for that kind of show,
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever ideas they may have. Because like I liked, because I saw one tweet from them that I dug, which is, I know there's a lot, like it was something a lot, it was addressing like a lot of people's like anger at Disney,
Mm.
and it was, well, in the first place they gave me that opportunity, like
Yeah.
no one else was gonna let me make this show, but they took a chance,
Yeah.
and for that I'll be appreciative and like getting that. And I read that and going, yeah, I think that's all you can do in that situation, man. Like,
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
you appreciate what you can do.
Yeah.
It's still not a great situation. It can be a lot fucking better.
Yeah.
But as a creator, like, I'm just gonna make the thing. Like, I gotta
Yeah.
finish it type deal. And I get that.
Yeah.
I really do. Um which is why, again, this will have a bittersweet tinge to it, but I really do think they're doing it. I think they are making the best of what they got.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Whether or not I'll like this more than Amphibia, I think is now going to come down to one, time, and two, Amphibia, I think has a lot more things that I like than Owl House.
Okay.
Just
Okay.
simple. It'll come down a lot down to taste.
As you said earlier, like
Yeah.
this had so much shit that was just for me.
Yeah, I
Like
know you're gonna eat this
so
shit
much,
up. Yeah.
so much. Like
Oh, which
fuck.
makes me want to talk about a certain aspect, right?
Yes.
I don't know if you have anything more to say because I'm going to talk about kind of a bigger idea, which is like
Uh,
fantasy, but like,
the only thing I was gonna throw
yeah,
out was and I did have a
everybody's
question
in love
actually.
with everyone, dude. It's kind of wild.
Everybody really is pet coupling. Well, listen, they're at that age. They're at that age, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
And
that's true.
kids, like,
You know what we never
how?
see? We never see the fucking the how either long or short those relationships actually last
Mhm.
because they're growing because people are because kids are growing up so fast at that age
Yep.
that you're a
Yep.
different person by the next year.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and that's always more interesting to me as a transitional, but I get what they're trying to. Yeah, it's more
Uh,
fun. this, this way.
the, I mean, what some of the things I really
Maybe I'm
appreciated
just a
from
bitter old man, bitter old
you.
cynical man.
Oh, maybe I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, yeah, maybe. No one wants to talk about the fucking shit fights that happen. And then you go, you're 15 and you're having this fucking out like in public couple fight.
Good Lord, Jesus Christ! I mean, I
Yeah.
guess they could do that on the show. Yeah, they could do that, but like, here's the thing: is like you would have to then wait 7 episodes
Yeah,
for
you have
them
to
to
wait.
address, like that they've had an argument. Like, hey, you remember like 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
That's oh my god. Yeah.
Or where's the simple of it just wasn't working out.
Yeah.
It was a
Yeah.
spur of the moment type thing, and then we realized, oh yeah, we don't like.
Yeah. Uh, uh, so
Um,
in the scene where uh, what's the illusionist's name? The kid with the
I
who has
always
the illusion.
forget. I love him
Uh,
too.
he's so good.
The
So
only
there's a
thing
scene.
is, he's also kind of, like you get one episode where kind of you get depth, a
Yeah.
lot of depth with him trying to find his own people as well.
Yes.
Um, but you don't get more than that, and he's kind of just a character from then on. Which
Yeah. I mean,
at for that kind of for that big of a cast with little time, it's gonna happen. So you might as well
yes.
make it enjoyable,
I
right?
mean, I feel that way about like Luz's best friend, the plant enchanter. Like, she's a super
Yeah,
interesting character, but also like,
yeah. From the
okay,
little snippets you get, but we haven't gone to dig into stuff after her and what's her name fix their
plant.
relationship.
Uh, oh God,
Amity,
Amity.
because it's supposed to be like
Amity.
Amityville, like yeah,
Right. Yeah. I mean, all I was gonna say is super interesting characters, but as you say, the cast is so big, you don't get time to breathe with him as much,
yeah,
which is too bad. But there's like a little scene where he's like crawling around in Luz's dad's stuff,
yeah.
like behind that big Dominican flag,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and uh, which love that. Very happy just for that. But we then get
Gus,
like
Gus is
the this this is happening.
yeah.
Um, we get that scene. I wanted to ask you what you thought it meant because I was a little confused. There's a scene where
Mm-hmm.
Hunter and the other boy are down in the basement,
Yeah,
and they start talking
Gus.
about
His name's
Star
Gus.
Trek.
Yeah,
Well,
they're analog for Star Trek, right?
right. And then when Luz's mom comes in,
It's freaking
she's like
out.
she's like kind of anxious and freaking out. Is she a Trekkie or was her late husband a Trekkie and she's like uncomfortable?
I think the way she specifically acts, it's definitely more towards her.
Okay. Okay.
Um, so I'm wondering, right?
Mhm.
Because okay, so there could be a couple things. Maybe, the crazy one is she wrote that stuff,
Oh
or
my
she was
god.
part of that. Yeah, that's the
Okay.
insane one that I don't think will happen.
Right.
My thing, more realistically, because she's also weird in that sense, and
Yeah.
has been put down from like as we saw with the montage.
Hmm.
Um, which I'm like, wow, wish I had a support like that
Right.
for the weird shit I did. Again, that'll go back into the fantasy talk I have later.
Mhm.
I think she
Mhm.
was a big fan of that stuff,
And she's
like Luce,
embarrassed of the
of
association.
of the association, because like there was stuff in there, because there's like stuff hanging and everything. So she was a
Mhm.
Trekkie. She
Yeah.
and that's kind of a nice allusion to kind of where like nerdum as we know it really starts,
Yeah.
which is the Star Trek era. Which was, hey, for a little fun fact, first comic book conventions were run by Star Trek fans,
Oh.
specifically female Star Trek fans, because they wanted to meet the cast and
Okay.
all that. A little bit of nerd history there,
That's cool.
but so I wonder if it's a nice allusion to that,
I hope so.
that she's part
That'd
of
be
the
cool.
first wave,
That would be really cool.
which would age her a lot.
She would
to
have at least had to be able to read and write in the early 60s.
Yeah, which makes her way older than what she actually is, which means this is a little bit more fantasy thing. I don't know if she's part of the first wave then.
Maybe
Maybe
she
she
was a part
came
of the
on.
next gen. She was in the 80s version.
She was either into Next Gen or fucking Deep Space. No, Deep Space Nine is way too late
That's pretty late in the
for her
game. She's
age. Yeah,
probably into Picard. She loves Picard.
love Picard. Bald is masculine. It's virile.
He's a robot now, and I love
Or
it
what's
more.
his name? Fucking the red shirt. Nah, what if she's
Scotty?
into Worf, dude?
I mean, it's anything's possible.
Anything's possible. Yeah, yeah. So no, so far so good. The episode's good,
Yeah,
man. I
yeah.
miss Ida. I love that character.
Mhm.
I miss King.
Mhm.
God, I'm still hung up about that one episode though. For for
Which
King.
one?
The where you find out King's origins, right?
Oh, on the other side of the world. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Because it's one of the best episodes, and I still don't think I agree with the message Luce comes up with for at the time.
Remind us what happened.
Because essentially they were gaslighting him and lying to him and
Right.
treating him like this. Um, which I guess one could argue he's like a child, and you're gonna lie to a child to just make the world seem a little bit more magical.
Sure.
I think that's the thinking, but he's way too sapient and sentient, right? For that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. It's obviously a different maturity than like humans.
Yes, I
Um,
would agree with that. I would agree with
yeah. So like, I don't know. I still got problems with that bit. Great
that.
episode
Fair.
though. The rest of the episode. Um, yeah, and I just like Ida dealing with her shit as well.
Yeah.
It's because you get to have a lot of history for someone at that age, right? Like who's older and who's
Mm.
obviously still an outcast, society outcast.
Yes.
Because it's also playing like witches in the sense that they were just women who were outcasted, and you would call them a witch
And burn them.
type of thing. Yeah,
Well,
or
and
the whole spinster legacy, right, of that word.
right.
Yeah,
Well, and then in the finale, you do get like this fun moment of, again, you just keep getting little glimpses of, here's another thing we could have done if we had more time,
yeah,
of
yeah,
the witch hunter who lives in her town.
yeah,
And like, oh, there would have been a lot of fun opportunities for the kids to get into mischief and basically make this guy look more crazy, like
yeah.
just disgrace him further from
Yes,
society.
absolutely.
Well,
Oh well.
that would,
So
yeah,
just like enjoy the ride now for what it is. It's the only is my like takeaway, right?
yeah, you just gotta treat it like you're getting like finale movies in a series.
Because that's what they are.
Yeah.
Because that's what they fucking are.
Yeah.
And they're great. There's some really good animation that kicks up. Like there's a moment where you like see the time and budget kick into kick into action.
I know the exact moment, and I love that moment.
Yeah,
It's
it's a
great.
great moment. It's very anime. Very
It's so fluid. It's so well
random
put together.
Sakuga is gonna have a fun thing with that. Yeah, no, so it's great.
Yeah.
Great. All age. That one's all ages, unlike the Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk's hard, fucking hard. Like you, there's
So just make sure your parents aren't at home when you
there
watch
aren't
that
at
one.
home, and you're watching. Owl House is great though. So far, so good.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
I will say this though. The only thing, because again, we talked about it's a little unfair at this point for Amphibia and Owl House. I still think Amphibia has one of the best characters I've seen in a cartoon. Like one of the most interesting explorations.
Sasha.
Yeah,
Sasha.
just straight up.
I'm prone to agree with you about Sasha. I think Sasha is probably one of the most rich, one of the most complicated characters. But
It's just a cartoon.
man, I can't get over the other one. It's catering so specifically to me.
Imagine it's a small town. Oh, okay, fantasy time, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I feel like I know the answer is yes. I just have to ask the question for the sake of the podcast. Was your fantasy as a child to live in like a small town like that, or it's perpetually fall and it's got a horror background that you can explore like Stephen King and like these kids are doing? You get a little weird shit.
Let me add even one level
Oh
further.
yeah, go for it.
Being like a child of the islands living in a New England town professionally. Holy shit. This is unfair. This is narrow casting on a level I've never fucking seen before. Yeah. Yes. The answer is yes.
Yeah.
This is such wish fulfillment for me as a child. Like, it's preposterous. Like, they would have had to have gone catastrophically off the rails for them to lose me at this point. Like,
yeah. So you mentioned the word wish fulfillment, right? So that's actually, I think that's the word I'm looking for. Isn't these kind of fantasy shows that I think work so well? Because I've talked about like it's hard for me to get into fantasy.
Yeah.
A lot of the times, especially hard or what's considered hard fantasy, or like even sometimes portal fantasy. Although I've had history with like, oh, I like some stuff that's straight up just portal fantasy, right? I tend to enjoy urban fantasy a lot more, but yeah, portal. But I think the fantasy aspect a lot of people don't address or escape, or maybe I'm just like out of the loop.
Mm-hmm.
Is this escapist and wish fulfillment part of just wanting to live in that kind of place where it's a lot safer and a lot more towards what you would want. It's the way I put it, it's kind of like the Pokemon effect.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I don't know if that's the right word. Either way, I'm gonna describe it as you're a kid, you want to live in the Pokemon world because everything seems great. You're living with Pokemon. You get to be 10 and go out on your own. That's how fucking safe everything is.
Yes.
And you get to do all that, which is not at all the world we live in.
No, it isn't
at all. Even if you lived in a small town like that, there's small towns like that actually, as we've seen, breed some fucked up shit.
Some real dark stuff, guys.
Yeah, because it's so secluded and so away from everything that things get to like fester, right? Because it's not touched.
The reality, I mean, like, yeah, if Owl House was reflecting reality, for example, the person who replaces the like religious fundamentalist at the history museum is not like a they them history major who's like super chill with the kids, which but I'm glad that that's in the show. Like, that's chill that it's in the show. But yeah, I agree. That's not a reflection of how a small New England town probably would work. I agree.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And like, yeah, just how cool everyone is to each other. Except for the one crazy conspiracy guy who's right, but like, he's crazy. You don't want anything to do with that.
He's Eugene Levy in Splash. He's spoiling for everyone. I
Just
don't
ill.
know if
Just
any of
ill.
these
No one wants to
kidnapped
deal with that shit. Cause like fuck him. He kidnapped people.
He did. He kidnapped children. We
He's
can't.
and he is 99% of the time wrong, but the one thing he's right about is fucking crazy. And like
Yes.
um and like okay, so
So
my thing so the bigger point I'm getting to this is I've been watching
yeah.
a lot of cartoons and horror stuff lately
Yeah.
just because again writing, and I've mentioned this before.
Mhm.
And one of the things that finally like clicked as I'm watching this, and I was thinking of you because I was like, he's gonna watch this thing.
Yeah.
Is the reason I think adults are really digging into kid cartoons. This is not only because they grew up on cartoons like this and become more prevalent, and animation as a media has gotten a lot more respect.
Yes.
Not
Yeah.
there's definitely still a ton more big hurdles to come, but I mean like in our generation and younger,
Hmm.
and even yeah no, and I would still argue overall there's a lot more respect. Um,
Yeah.
is I think there's that. I think there's the desire for man. I wish my upbringing was like that. Because like
Yeah.
I've talked about how like in Craig of the Creek there was like the music episode. I'm like, wow, I wish it was like that. As not
Yeah.
that is the antithesis. That is the opposite of the experience I had growing up playing music.
Hmm. Hmm.
Just bitter fucking. We're all trying to outdo each other, and it's not fun anymore. Like unless you're playing for yourself, which I eventually had to learn. I'm like, I'm just gonna play for me, man. I can't.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm gonna keep doing that, bringing my fucking guitar to school and all that shit.
Right.
Um, but I think there's part of that, and I feel like it's such an obvious thing to me that I'm like, I think I was just slow on the uptake. That for, for that, but
Good.
but I think that is a part that because there's always these other reasons that I'm given for why people watch these kids cartoons at that age.
Hmm.
But I feel like that's a big one that we don't address so far. But
It's
I don't know. I don't know. What do you think? I wanted to pitch that out there because this was an idea I was thinking of yesterday.
directly to what you're talking about. Like
Yeah.
there's a huge element to which like I do think that there's a degree to which I do watch. I'll watch a cartoon and I'll watch it presently here with all that, but
Yeah.
I'm also to a degree watching it like with my younger self,
Yeah.
metaphorically.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I try to think what my younger self too would right at that age,
Right.
and which I said I think he would fucking love Craig of the Creek
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
that age. As much as I think Amphibia is my favorite thing, even though it just ended, that was currently airing
Yeah.
for cartoon wise. My younger self would have been all over Craig of the Creek.
And so here's what I'm thinking about
Yeah.
like that is I can't really say that um about Adventure Time just because the timing is I was still technically a kid at that time when it
Yeah,
was on.
regular show was around that for me too. I was like, I could have been watching, but I was also a teenager by that point. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
But like but even then going just a few years later to like Steven Universe or like
yeah,
a bunch of these other shows, like my child self could not fucking fathom it. Like, holy shit, this is on TV? Like
yeah,
this is amazing.
yeah,
Like um I think to a degree that to
yeah.
wrap
Obviously, I
around
think it depends on the person as well, right?
let me make an accusation though. I do think
Okay,
to a degree
okay.
I I
Come
do
at me,
think to
bro. Let's go.
I do think to a degree the creators of these shows are they're kind of close to our age, aren't they? Like they're well,
They're
30
not that
something.
far off. Yeah, showrunners, yeah, tend to be like in their 30s or 40s.
I think that like yeah, so like
Yeah, we're getting
especially
closer to the things we'd be making. Which, hey, we are. Just say be on the for
be on the watch, be
yeah,
on the watch. Like yeah, like so I imagine that the creator of Owl House, the creator of Steven Universe, the creator of you know, name a show in the last few years that we've
Yeah.
had glowing things to say about.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably people who had a very similar, somewhat similar experience to us,
Mm-hmm.
like in their life, and so that's probably. I think there's a degree to which like, oh, they're making shows for themselves, but themselves are very similar to you and me. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
I think there is more in common than what I'm probably letting on, because I do realize that the timing, right?
mhm,
But I would also argue, like, depending on just even where you're at,
mhm.
that's going to change drastically your upbringing. I mean,
Yeah,
I talked about how, like, right now shows that relate to probably the people I knew growing up, and what how kind of people treat each other.
mhm.
Reservation Dogs is probably the closest.
Yes,
It's
yeah,
probably by far the closest in terms of relatability. And I fucking love Reservation Dogs. I think Reservation Dogs is, having caught up with everything, is a beautiful fucking show.
yeah,
Um and that would argue. Whereas like some cartoons, I would, like I've said before, yeah, I can relate to that, but I also get you're trying to create a positive, more like, because with kid shows you definitely have to keep the morals in check, like, for all that kind
yeah.
of stuff.
You
And
don't
what you're thinking
want
about.
to leave material for that's so fucking weird. But as I've
Yeah.
gotten older, I definitely feel more strongly that like please don't put dumb shit in kids' heads.
Yeah.
Like at least if you're not going to actively teach children things, which I do stand by. Like you're not. I don't think you're obligated to teach your audience anything. You're
Hmm.
obligated to entertain your audience,
Yeah.
but you should also, at the minimum, don't put dumb shit in people's heads.
Yeah.
Don't you know?
No,
Yeah.
absolutely. Especially as someone who's worked with, well, we both worked with kids. So you've definitely had more experience than I do.
Mm.
Um, yeah, thinking about on that level too, just shit that
Well,
goes in.
like, here's an example. Here's a quick example I'll
Yeah.
give you. Like when I was working for the school district, I I think I had said this when I was working with the school district. I was
Hmm.
doing like essays and history and English, and the kids were about 13 to 16 that I was
Yeah.
seeing, and I had been watching through the Hannibal Lecter movies
Yeah.
at that time. And so while I was correcting papers, I started to fall into like, okay, I got to get through this quickly so we can move on to the next one.
Yeah.
Okay, here. Do you see? Here. Do you see?
Do you see?
And I realized I'm quoting Ray Fiennes from Red Dragon, and then the children start quoting it in the exact same cadence. Do you see? Do you see? It is changed now.
so, so, so if like their parents are familiar with the movie, they're gonna think they're watching Red fucking Dragon or something. Well, hang on, here's even the worst, and they'll go, no, that's how my tutor
Talks
talks.
just
And
normally.
now the thought is your tutor talks like Ray
A
Fiennes from.
murderer. Like the fucking serial killer.
I can totally see the line of logic for that, man. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
oh, oh, that's funny. That's fucking funny. Oh, but yeah, just want to throw that out there. That's obviously a much deeper discussion that I'm gonna have to like meditate about a
Mhm,
lot more, because I think at some point too, I'm gonna want to write my own cartoon, because I love cartoons way too much.
I dig
Um,
it.
I'm gonna. I mean, if I had the thing, I would bring back like Looney Tune esque style of gags, but
Oh, like little vaudeville bits
yeah,
and stuff like that.
little bits, and that's just me. I wonder if I could combine really in depth, because I love character exploration and all that. I wonder if I can combine really character in depth stuff with Looney Tunes gag. You know?
I'd say look at the Tick. I think that's a good place
Yeah,
to jump off.
yeah. That's the one to go to, right? Like,
That's where I went to right away.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
because they're super beings, so you can fuck them up real good, and nothing
yeah,
really happens.
yeah.
Like,
Oh, my
yeah.
logic is just gonna be it's a cartoon, but at the
Oh
same
yeah,
time, you don't want kids jumping off of roofs because
sure.
they're Superman and all that. So,
But
uh,
I mean, I think also it's a difference of like also how you animate.
yeah,
Like for example, like Owl House has very grounded
it's
physics.
very grounded, even for how magical everything is, right? So,
So like if Luce falls 2 stories,
Oh
she's
yeah, they're
gonna get
hurt. There's battle damage. So,
yeah
yeah,
yeah 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 yeah. Like she does not go squishy and then
yeah,
bounce back. You know.
yeah,
Yeah yeah
absolutely.
yeah.
So was I? Yeah. So that's one Halloween
Yeah.
thing.
Okay.
Do you want to take it away? I've got two more
I've also
maximum. Go
I've
for it.
also got 2 more. All right.
Go go. Go
Um,
on.
I'm gonna briefly talk about. I don't think I've talked too much about it. Chucky, the TV
I
series,
still
is
gotta
back.
watch it, man. I keep hearing good things about it.
Can I tell you what, guys? It's
Yeah.
listen. Last night was
Last
episode
night.
4, season 2.
Oh
Uh,
shit! They're on.
it
Okay.
yeah yeah.
Okay.
Time to catch up, man.
Yeah, I'm late. So
I think you can actually get it through if you sign up for. This is my understanding. We went to a friend's place last night to watch it.
yeah.
But I believe if you have Peacock,
Friends.
you can. Listen, guys, I don't have to explain what.
Listen, I have friends. I have friends too, Ian.
Yeah, but they've got Chucky. I don't have Chucky. I
That's
need
true.
someone.
I don't have Peacock.
Um, let
If
me
only
let
there
me
was
tell you.
another way.
What do you want to know about the general setup of the show? Like, just to get people's kind of in the right headspace so they get it. Like just the setup, a general setup for
Yeah,
the show, I guess.
let's do general setup.
So season 1 is about a teenage boy. I think he's about 15 or 16 years
Yeah.
old, who's raised by a single drunken father,
Damn.
and basically he buys a doll at a yard sale,
Mhm.
and his whole life just keeps getting worse and worse and worse for season 1.
Okay.
Um,
And things
and that,
just don't work out. And I
gosh, I just don't understand. So season 1 is all set in Hackensack, New Jersey. Season 1 kind of gives you a backstory on Charles Lee Ray, which is the serial killer inside the Chucky
yeah,
doll.
yeah.
Um, I'm trying to think what else kind of happens. I mean, season 1 is so fun. It's very.
Yeah,
It's
heard nothing but good things.
have you so how many Chucky movies have you seen? Just so I get an
Oh
idea.
god, these were coming out when I was in elementary. And it was
True.
like those films that like other kids would be like, if you're not seeing it, you're just like you're a fucking coward or all that.
You're lame. You know.
A lot
Yeah.
more harsher words, but I think I've hit my quota for swears today. And then
Hey, fucko, watch this.
yeah, again, when elementary kids are all talking nice to each other in cartoons, don't get it. And they're just, hey, fuck base, go on. It's Chucky. And if you're scared, you're a bitch. And like, I'm like, shit, man. I'm like 7.
Dolls are already scary on their own.
Yeah. I don't. My folks were like tight about, like, really restrictive about that kind of stuff. Like growing up. Couldn't stop me though. And then, so I watched the first one. I think when I was a kid, dude. I barely remember shit. I just know premises. I remember certain scenes.
Okay.
A lot more pop culture references than I think I like. I don't know if they were all in there, but
So the
yeah,
weird part
I probably
came,
should rewatch stuff.
So the weird part came. So the series starts in '88,
Starts in
and
88.
runs through.
Yeah,
The 2 movies in the middle of the franchise, that's Bride of Chucky and Seed of Chucky,
yeah,
are weirdly like black comedies. Actually,
yeah.
they're
That's
like
what I remember, right? And I think Seed of Chucky came out when I was a kid. I think that's the specific movie I'm thinking of.
the dude who was Pippin plays his son, daughter, son slash daughter.
Okay.
And so,
Yeah, Seed of Chucky
gosh,
came out.
what's that?
Oh no, I'm looking at the
Oh,
Redman's in Seed of Chucky. That's what you were thinking of, dude.
that's what I was thinking of. Yes,
All right, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
So I gotta kind of spiel out a little bit of plot from the old movies just so I can set up some of it, because here's the thing I love. Chucky is the opposite of Halloween. In one, that it's fun and different,
Yeah.
often, but 2, even the shit that Don Mancini is the creator of Chucky, the head writer and director of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Even the stuff that he doesn't like, he is of the opinion it's in the movie, so it's canon now, so I have to stick with it.
That's awesome.
And so he like very early on was like, I think voodoo was dumb. I hate that it's a voodoo that does it, but we established it was voodoo, so now Chucky knows how to do voodoo, and we had
Voodoo.
to build a whole thing. So so in Seed of Chucky,
Yeah.
Chucky's son / daughter finds him
Mm-hmm.
and reveals that they're a they them intersex person,
Got it.
and they then murdered Redman and Jennifer Tilly,
Yes.
and Chucky's girlfriend Tiffany Valentine, who was played by Jennifer Tilly in the last movie, possesses the actual body of the actress Jennifer Tilly.
Mm-hmm.
And the end of that movie resolves with Chucky is defeated and gone, and Jennifer Tilly is now possessed by the spirit of a murderer pretending to be Jennifer Tilly, who's going to raise spooky redheaded twins, a boy and a girl. Let me just say, all that to say, episode 4, Season Chucky, is a murder mystery movie.
Hell yeah.
With Jennifer Tilly. Hold on. I've got the cast right here. It's a phenomenal cast.
Got it. And it's for season 2.
This is on season 2, episode 4. Glenda in this show, Glenn and Glenda are twins, because their souls, of course, their souls were split out of the one body into two twins, and now they're both kind of like genderqueer characters, I guess. Okay. They're both played by the girl from Sabrina named Lachlan Watson.
Okay.
If you want to look up that person, they're very good. Watson. They're very, very good in the movie. But let me just name some of the other stars who are in this episode, because it's wild. It's Megan Tilly, Jennifer Tilly's actual sister, plays her sister in the show. Let's see, who else is in this episode? A lot of the cast from Bound, Gina Gershon and Joe Pantoliano, like A-list celebrities who have all been Oscar nominated are in this episode about a killer doll.
That's wild.
So fucking good. It's so fucking good. Yeah. And also, like, the Chucky franchise goes out of its way, I think, to paint people in Hollywood as monstrous as is possible.
Yeah, that's what I've always dug about that, right?
Yeah.
It's just that aspect. Sorry, go ahead.
But no, like in the episode, not at all related to killer dolls, not at all related to the fact Jennifer Tilly has been possessed for, I guess, almost 20 years by a murderer.
Yeah, by murder.
This episode just has Jean from the other actress from the movie Bound, a great performer, basically try to blackmail Jennifer Tilly into a sexual relationship and then murder someone for no reason, just because she can. It's so good. It's so fucking good. Okay. Oh my god.
I definitely know this show's on the list. Like, I gotta check it out.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Season 2 is completely set in a Catholic boarding school, by the way.
Oh, sick. So that's gonna hit home. I didn't go to boarding school, but I know cat.
I mean, yeah, like the man, it's such a good show. I love it so much.
Yeah.
And also, hey, if you guys are worried about something like Clerks TV happening to Chucky TV, he's apparently contractually allowed a minimum of 10 fucks an episode. So, yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of them.
Well, I mean, it's different now than what it was when Clerks TV came out.
That's fair. That's super fair.
A lot's happened since then. Fucking Hannibal is still a show I can't believe existed on public television.
The fact that they got away with airing some of the mutilation, because the show was essentially murderers who were very artistic.
Yeah, and I think that's how they did it.
Yeah.
they got away with that is they presented it in a very artistic light.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's my theory. I don't know shit. Like it could be.
Because they did a double Blood Eagle in season 1 of that
Yeah,
show.
and people got to learn what a blood eagle was for the
Yeah.
through that show.
Yeah.
Um, which is just like it's just ritualistic. At that point, it's overkill. It's literally overkill.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
no, yeah. All right, so I'm gonna check out Chucky.
Yes.
Let me get on to my thing real quick.
Go for it.
So the obvious horror movie recommendation would be to say Nope, because that is such a Chris movie. It's fucking crazy, and it would be insane for me not to make that.
Sure.
Like, it's one of those I've talked about before. The only reason I like am hesitant to make it my movie of the year is because it plays too much to me, and I feel like I would just be a character if like I said that. So Nope's the obvious one. Um, I've talked. I don't know if no, I have not mentioned Deadstream on this podcast. I did
We
mention
can
it to
talk
you,
about
Ian.
it. We can talk
Yeah.
about it.
Did you talk? Did you watch it?
I did watch it.
Movie's fucking great. What'd you think?
It was okay.
It was okay. Fuck you, man. That movie's. It's got Sam Raimi style like demons that fucking bite dicks and go.
Let me tell you, that was my favorite part. Was the wet puppets. I loved the wet puppets.
All the wet puppets look great. All the animatronics. So let me ask then: is the part you didn't like? Is it the main character?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It was. Well, here's the thing. Like the main character is perfect. He's perfectly.
It's perfectly casted, dude. The guy they got is amazing. He's doing it. It's exactly what you want.
I honestly I didn't do it, but I was thinking like I feel like I can pull up this guy's YouTube. I think he does have.
Yeah,
YouTube, like
I wonder. I actually let me look it up. I want to say someone that either wrote the movie or something. Hang on.
Okay.
Deadstream. Joseph Winter is the guy. Okay. He's known for a Deadstream. Yeah, not much else.
Really? Huh. I mean, as a compliment to him, like.
Oh, he's in VHS 99. I haven't seen it yet, but okay.
That just came out, I think, right?
He's in High School Musical 2 as the bass guitar player, uncredited.
Oh, okay.
Let me director. It looked like some shorts. Yeah, there's some shorts. Writer. Well, okay, you ready for this? He's a director of Deadstream.
Okay.
And he's the writer. So he made this for him. Like he had the idea and went for it.
I mean, I all I can say is he performed perfectly. He wrote it.
It's a really great performance.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
but
just find it annoying.
Yeah, because that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be. So maybe you just don't watch, like you haven't watched enough of these like kind of personalities, or at least I don't know how much of it's a joke to you. Because to me at some point, also dipping my toes into that kind of streaming and all that. To me, it's a joke. It's hilarious, right? But also, it's addressing the dark side of that, which is if you keep on making and doing this performance for other people, at what point, right? Do you just lose all control of your life? And it's that.
Yeah, I would say yes. I liked that part of it. I thought that was interesting, and I agree. Like, also, I was kind of surprised by what the reveal of his his dirt was that he has to atone for, basically. Like, because you know what, that was I maybe
the thing with the homeless person, right?
He was doing bum fights.
Yes,
he killed a homeless man in a paying him for.
He died from a bum fight. Yeah.
What people don't remember, maybe our younger folks, people who are younger than 25.
Yeah.
Like there was a period in YouTube's early history where that was like a thing.
Yeah.
Like bum fight.
Oh, not just YouTube, but you could buy videos on.
The guy who does Girls Gone Wild also
Yeah,
told
and I
me.
was about to say after Bum Fights, he went on to do Girls Gone Wild, which is also a
Oh,
very
yeah,
yeah.
lots of exploitation of people.
Uh-huh. Exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's that.
yeah,
It's exploitation. Because that's the biggest thing of that movie is like when you're making your own thing, the moment you drag others into it, fuck you.
yeah.
You're a monster.
Basically,
Yeah.
I mean,
You're exploiting others for your own thing, for your own obsession.
and even if it wasn't as bad, like I just want to call out. I'm here to call some people out.
Yeah.
No, but well, because I remember when we were in high school to around the same time,
Uh,
like prank videos were really popular,
yeah. Yeah.
but they were not
From a
pranks.
lot of people misunderstanding Jackass.
They were doing just mean shit to strangers.
To
That's all.
strangers, and that's the issue. Like,
Yeah,
Jackass, and that's always something I talk about, like, Jackass is a bunch of crazy dudes doing it to themselves and each other.
they volunteer. They
Yeah.
volunteer. They fully know what they're about to do. Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if other people are involved, they're usually just either witnessing the thing.
Mhm.
They're not victims of the prank. Yeah.
Right. Right. Yeah. I did you ever see there was a movie that came out a while ago with the guy who plays Steve from Stranger Things on Shudder. It was called Drive, I believe. Or
Oh, I think I've
Driver?
seen it, but I
Driver.
haven't watched it. I
Um
mean, sorry, I saw it. I saw like a piece of art or whatever.
let me just say, I think that movie does something similar in it. For
Oh,
me, it
really?
worked a little bit better. It was a little
Okay.
more successful just because he was an Uber driver who was live streaming his drive,
Fuck, dude.
and then periodically starting to murder people for the attention.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, which was, I don't know. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, but fucking that whole deal, man. Continuing to put yourself and others in peril for attention, approval.
Yeah.
Fucking. Do I sound like an old man? Do I sound like I need to write a book about the good old days?
A little bit, because now I feel like I feel young compared to talking about just because of how entertaining too. I thought it was like, and I found it funny, like a lot of the
It
stuff,
was funny.
because
It
again,
was.
it's crazy. It's like these are the people you make fun of because they're insane. Like not because
Yes,
they're insane, but because they're doing awful things and there's nothing else to do.
they're
But,
douches. They're great
yeah,
big
they're
douches.
douchebags. They're assholes. Yeah.
And they're willfully going to. I think that's also like a little bit of the dirty pleasure of that is like the
Yeah.
people in the chat, like they know
Yeah.
this has gone on too far, but they're like, let's see what
Absolutely,
he
but
does
they're
next.
egging it on. Yeah, it's entertainment to
Yeah.
them. It's not once with that screen, you disassociate yourself from that, and it's just
Mm-hmm.
entertainment. You're not thinking about the actual person on the other side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's this kind of comes to like not safe for life videos, right? Anything you see, it's like considered not safe for life, where it's
Yeah.
voyeuristic.
Yeah.
You're not
Yeah.
you're not feeling for the other person. You're just going, wow, that's fucked up.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're
Exactly.
not knowing the history of what's going on the other side. Um, on that note, might I recommend May Let's, aka Nick Spears, has done some pretty cool not safe for life iceberg videos where
Oh, okay.
she goes into that aspect that I feel like is never addressed for that
Mm-hmm.
kind of stuff. It's like, yeah, you don't know the history. You don't know why this shit's happening, dude. Like we
Right.
mentioned, I think what me and you talked about, like the notion of the cartel when it's actually there's actually multiple things that are
Right.
going
Right.
on, and it's a lot more complicated and awful than you would actually think.
Exactly. Exactly.
Um, but anyway, so I will say this on a more fun aspect because I found this movie actually really fun,
Okay.
and I
Yeah, I
enjoyed the
agree.
ride all throughout. I think it's a great like hey, you're at home. I need a little bit of cheesy popcorn, like flick to go with this, but I also want to see some gross like demons and like Sam Raimi style,
Yes.
which is probably why I like this so much. But
Okay.
I think there's obviously like while taking the new stuff, such as live streaming and the motion cameras and all that,
Mm-hmm.
in that aspect, and utilizing that very well, it's also paying some, I think, respect to the older things that obviously inspired this. I mentioned Sam Raimi
Yeah.
before, but also like just gross demons and zombies, stuff that started with like Exorcist, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Where it's that kind of level of stuff rather than these horrors that kind of reach a more divine, I guess, level, or
Mm.
there's a dignity. But going back
Okay.
to the gross, like fucking rotten aspects and supernatural bits of demons and zombies, you don't see much.
These are ghouls. The
Yeah.
ghouls. Yeah.
And it does tie into how these two characters relate, right? Which is, I forget her name, but how she's haunting the house.
Yes.
Um, and that they're both just they're looking for attention, like
Yeah.
on a grand scale, and obsession in different ages.
And and
Okay.
I was gonna say, and the movie makes a really interesting parallel to the idea of like power. Like there is a
Yeah,
power game being played here that like
absolutely.
attention equals
Power.
power and
Yeah.
money. And for
And
her,
they're not
it
necessarily
equals
wrong with that.
supernatural power.
Yeah.
And or, but yeah.
It's like one of the things I remember talking about in a class once. It was, I think it was a government class. I don't know why this came up, but I think the professor had like a really good point.
Uh,
It was like entry levels, or it was general ed. So this is probably like something more than people want to talk about in that class.
yeah.
But it's like when celebrities tweet something, right?
Hmm.
Um, what like your instinct is to go, well, they can say whatever. That's their account.
Yeah.
Until you realize like they have like millions of followers that eat this shit up and
Yeah.
retweet and like, and we forget that's a power aspect
Now, now,
because influence will work. So the question is, do they have responsibility for those? And in my head, I'm going, yeah, that when you have that much, when you have any level of power, like on that, and you can use it like that, you
mhm.
absolutely have responsibility for that.
Now, I know who I'm thinking of, so I'm not going to bring that person up. We're not
Yeah.
going to talk about them. Um, but just to add to your thought, I really like you know the Irish talk show host Graham Norton. You're familiar with that fella?
Yes. Yeah.
So I'll briefly mention this because I think that it's related and it's purposeful and good.
Yeah.
But so Graham Norton is getting interviewed as like a star of UK media, European media,
Hmm.
and they're like, they're asking about canceling, like,
Yeah.
oh, what do you
Oh,
think
I've
about?
seen this clip. Yeah. I know what clip you're talking
And so he comes out and he's like, well, I'm thinking about someone like John Cleese from Monty Python, who's like apparently super anti woke, like
about.
super anti PC,
Yeah. Yeah.
all this. And John Cleese constantly talks about getting canceled.
Yeah.
But I'm reading about his cancellation
Yeah.
in the paper,
Exactly.
in the
Yeah.
magazine, and he fucking wrote it.
Yeah.
Like, what part of that is canceled?
Yeah.
It's accountability. You're being held accountable to the
Yeah.
shitty stuff. And they then try and tie that in with some other people. But I think that is an example is so good and clear cut of
Hmm.
like, yeah, we're not saying the argument is not that you shouldn't be allowed to speak, but
Yeah.
it is if you say something shitty, we are going to tell you how shitty what you
Yeah.
just
It's
said.
whether we're allowed to say it, like to say that you're shitty
Yeah, exactly.
for saying that. My thing is
Exactly.
always like, yeah, oh no, absolutely, you can say whatever you want.
Yeah,
Consequences may vary.
exactly. Exactly. Like I mean,
You
okay.
can murder someone.
Yes. That
Consequences may vary.
consequences
And
depending
reactions will happen. So,
depending who you are, where you are, what
yeah,
what but yeah, yeah, exactly. True, true, true.
what's that? What are you, fucking child? No, shit. Like you do something, something else happens. It's just that's the way it works, man. So laws of nature. At that point.
Yeah. Yes.
No, but yeah.
Uh
So, but going back to Deathstream, I think there's like actually a lot more going on, and it's all wrapped into this fun Halloween like zombie demon flick. That's cool to it's cool to watch, man.
okay, I'm about it. I
Yeah.
get you. I get you. I get you.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed this movie. This is the fun one I would suggest to
Okay.
do.
Okay.
And I do think they're talking about some stuff. So, kudos to him. This is obviously like he got a passion project out on Shutter, and it's great. I think.
Yeah. Congrats to that guy.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Congrats.
Um, you okay? Did you just throw up? It sounded like you threw
No, I
up.
had to bend over for a reason. That's the sound I
And
made.
that's the sound you make, old man. It sounds like your guts are leaving your body. It's
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
like that scene from Clerks, right, where he lifts up the milk and he goes, "What was that? Were you grunting, lifting up the count?" Oh man. Um. Okay, I have one more
Go for it.
movie recommendation, and then it would just be stuff I'm looking forward to playing that I would also recommend people check out if they're interested.
All
So,
right.
you have another Halloween thing?
I've got one last one. I don't
Go
know if
for it.
I'm going to talk too long about, but
Go for it. Do
I
it.
brought up the Interview with a Vampire
Oh.
came out. It was really good.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
shit. That yeah.
it's really good. It's really good, guys.
Hey,
Like,
fun fact: I refused to watch the movie, the
okay,
original, because I had a
okay,
friend who he was a friend at the time, but we do not like this person anymore.
okay, okay.
um, who just wouldn't shut the fuck up about that movie.
Really? You got to
Yeah,
tell me who it was later.
I'll
Tell
tell
me.
you after.
Okay.
But it's one
Uh,
of those. I think so far that's the earliest memory I have of someone not shutting up about a piece of media and me refusing to watch it in spite.
fair. A very fair response.
Or now I have the thing is if I watch it, I'll just never tell you.
Dude, that's so much darker. That's so much
Isn't
more
it?
evil.
And then I'll just
No.
bring it up one day, like out of years. Oh yeah, I watched the whole thing. It's good.
What? What? um, no, the show's really good. The
Yeah,
acting's really, really good.
got it.
They finally got to the little girl in the story, and she's like probably one of the best parts of it. She's
Nice.
like, um, you get your really good like, oh, what happens when you're trapped just on the cusp of puberty forever? Like,
Ugh. Oh
yeah,
yeah. Oh, I don't like that.
no, it's not great.
Yeah, I don't like that.
It is
Especially
not
because puberty hit me like a ton of bricks.
great. it it slammed into the both of us like a
Yeah.
semi coming off the five. Like,
Listen, I've talked about it before, but I had a full beard at 16, so like, there, there is.
and you had a partial beard before 16, so like
Yeah, and
you
I had to keep shaving it, and like,
yeah,
fuck.
yeah.
And then, yeah, no, it was at 16. I said, fuck it, let it grow. And then I was like, wow, I have a full beard. I never realized.
Mhm.
And
um,
now look at me.
look at me now.
Now look at me.
Uh,
Anyway, go ahead. I'm
no, I
like
mean,
self conscious.
I
Beard.
think that the show honestly is. So I'm someone who read those books as a kid, like
Yeah.
whenever I did ages ago.
Yeah.
I think the show's just better. I think the show's better. Uh, just because they've changed things in ways that are more interesting to me, at
Okay.
least.
Yeah.
So, the Brad
Okay.
Pitt
They wrote this for
character,
you, Ian.
they wrote it just for me. Like they've recast the Brad Pitt character to be Creole, so like
Oh, interesting.
there there's now like a whole different. Oh,
Yeah.
speaking of New Orleans, yeah, I'm probably gonna be
Nolans.
like right around the place where they shot that. So,
Hell yeah.
it'll be fun. Um, but like I think that just by doing that one change, it added so much more to the character.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, in this idea of like now you're not just because the vampire story is already kind of like allegorical to a degree for otherness
Yeah.
of like, oh,
Yeah.
you have to navigate this whole other world where people don't understand you, and this kind of thing.
A fun thing about, well, not so fun thing about vampires that I want to research, but
Yeah.
I've heard that the origins for vampires may or may not be stemmed in anti-Semitism in
Oh,
the
there's
early thing, and I never knew
yeah.
that.
I mean, like at least images of Count Orlok, like from
Yeah.
that part of the country.
And yeah,
Like,
when that was mentioned, I thought about that shit. And like, I'm like, huh. Oh, okay.
like you mean like a dangerous foreigner coming to take your
Dangerous
women and
foreigner to
spread
take you,
disease?
who has a lot of money and lives on. And then,
Hmm. That's right.
oh, and
Got like rat
Nosferatu
teeth.
has the nose.
Yeah.
And that's like, and then you're like, well, Harry Potter has the goblins. That has nothing to do with the vampire. I just like bringing up the goblin thing in, in Harry Potter because that shit's fucking wild.
It's like, well, and it's like that shit is so in. To address it at large. Like
Yeah.
I, that kind of imagery is so ingrained in the
Yeah.
society. I do think people do it unconsciously now. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Because it's been so fucking part of it for so long.
exactly. I like.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not trying
Hey,
to make
I
any
have a
friends.
crazier theory, and I have no. Okay, 100% no. I know nothing about the history of this, right?
Right.
So I am just pulling this out of my ass based on stereotypes I have heard my entire fucking life.
Right.
Do you think the
Yeah.
coin trick, that where you honk a person's nose and coins fall out, do you think that
Uh,
comes from that? That comes
I'm.
from that image?
I'm.
Because
I.
something just clicked in my brain right now about that.
Uh, was that something like your parents did to you? Like they honk your nose and
Oh no,
coins?
that's a magic trick I've seen around.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
yeah,
Okay.
because it's the escalation of like hidden coin
Oh,
thing.
like coin behind the ear, coin out the
Yeah,
nose.
coin on the ear, and then you would do the thing, and it's a faucet that comes out. You never
Oh,
seen that trick?
okay. I don't think I have. I'm not familiar
Okay,
with
I'll
this one.
find it. And like, I've totally seen that in person. Like, okay, do you think? And here's
Yeah.
my real question: that either the that stems from that, or to your point, it's so fucking ingrained in society that even my brain, who has grown up with these images around,
Hmm.
just made that connection.
Yeah, maybe.
Because both
Maybe.
seem real to me, and that's fucked up. That's a real fucked up like thing that's happening because of having those images constantly playing out.
Here's an example of like backdoor racism, I guess.
Yeah,
Like the kind of ingrained shit that we don't think about. So, for example,
absolutely.
we both love adventure stories as
Yes,
well as horror. Love
yes.
when
I
I was
think I know
growing
where you're
up,
going with this. Yeah,
Indiana Jones was one of my favorites.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
now
yeah. He sure gets chased.
sure does.
That plane
Hmm.
from a
Well,
tribe you don't see before in that movie.
dude, like
Oh, and then
getting
Temple
chased
of Doom. It's not...
getting chased for stealing some people's god to
Yeah,
put in a museum.
that's
That's not
right.
even that's not even the worst of it, man. Like
That's not. It's... Motherfucker says Kalima.
Kalima, they eat a person's heart. They sure
they
do.
they monkey brains in the third movie, I think.
They sure do. They surely do. Well, so but the roundabout way I wanted to come back to that is
Yeah,
like that as a genre. Like let's just talk about adventure as a genre.
yeah,
Like movies like that, movies like Laura Croft, movies like that. All of them,
yeah. Okay.
all of, but I
Primo
mean,
example.
okay, prime example, yeah. What National Treasure, I guess, or if you can
No,
think
that
of
can,
any.
well, no, because that's stealing from yourself. uh,
But
you know what? You know what? You started off too strong with Indiana Jones. That's what
fair,
happened.
fair.
Yeah,
Uh, sometimes the first example is the best
it's
one.
the best one. Yeah.
Uh, but so films like this though are built
Yes.
on this background of writing from the 1880s
Mm-hmm.
up to the 1920s,
Yeah.
wherein Europeans were exploring Africa, and it was called the Dark Continent. And
Yep.
Americans were exploring the rainforest in South
Mm-hmm.
America, and they also like made parallels to Africa. And there was this just kind of thread of what white people used to live here and build these beautiful things.
Yeah.
You know, that's how it boils down. I mean, I'm boiling down
Dude,
a lot of.
Ancient Aliens still fucking exists, man.
I mean,
And me
fucking
and you
yeah.
talk about that shit all the fucking time.
Because my grandparents would play it on full volume when they could
Yeah.
come to my house. It was
Oh,
just
me and my friends have a sick like joy we get. It was a tradition whenever we went to Evo, because for whatever fucking reason, that's what was on the TV. Like they would do
uh,
marathons that weekend, and
right.
we would be like plastered from the day's events and just watching and laughing at how fucking crazy and like racist this shit was.
Well, and also like those dudes, my favorite part of Ancient Aliens is the way that those dudes cover, which is
Yeah.
they can just caveat with ancient alien astronauts believe, and they can say
Yes.
whatever the fuck they want before that. You
That's
know,
right.
the alien,
It's
the
it's
great,
it's racism veiled in academic speak and academic talk.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, 'cause nobody ever questions, like we've said on the show before, nobody ever questions how the Palace of Versailles, how anything in Europe
Nope.
was constructed. Even hey, how do you do? Even Stonehenge, which is like one of the most
Yeah.
ancient, mysterious fucking things, but people don't say they did it
Don't question it.
from aliens. The
Yeah.
the accusation, I believe, is humans did it to speak to
To
aliens.
speak to aliens. Yeah, that's the
But but white people still get credit for all the stuff they did. Anyway, sorry guys.
it's just
But
gonna happen whenever you talk about history, right?
but
You can't.
no, actually, I think that National Treasure is a fair example, and here's why.
Okay.
Because, well, first of all, that
Okay.
treasure.
Oh, hang on. Everything all right on your end, Ian? Uh-oh. Technical difficulties, everyone. Let me. Hello, Ian. If you're speaking, you are cut out. All that. Let me see this. Yo. Oh, I can hear something on Ian's end. Ian, you okay? Uh-oh. Okay. I'm gonna try to solve this technical issue, everybody. Just be right back. Let's do this.
Hello.
Okay, back live.
Alrighty.
That was weird. All right, it went to a different input. Everyone
I'm so sorry, guys. Um,
got it.
but
Got you
yeah,
too heated. This
it got.
bullshit.
I was getting very heated. Just to summarize
Because
what
it's
my last point
bullshit.
was, is I think that actually even a story like, what was it, National Treasure,
Yeah,
where the treasure is ostensibly Europeans stole shit from the Middle East. It's
that's
like
right.
Babylonian, Egyptian gold, largely, I think, and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Oh,
But
that's
like,
true. I stopped thinking at the declaration part.
but the treasure
Yeah.
room is like
Yeah,
sarcophagi
it's
and like,
it's yeah, shit from all over.
um, but like, so I'm not here to say that National Treasure is racist. I don't think that. I don't think
Yeah.
that it's a racist story, but the
At least
genetics,
intentionally. Like
at
I would
least
argue.
intentionally, yes. But the genetics of that story are all
Yeah.
based around the
It's rooted.
idea
Yeah.
that comes from that. And so like you can have a story where Nick Cage has an adventure and it really isn't overtly about like the dark continent. We must
Hmm.
explore
Yeah.
this. But they all come from the premise of there are parts of the world where humanity has never been and
Yeah.
we need to be the ones to explore it. And the fact is like, nah dog, people fucking have lived there
Yeah,
forever.
people
You
live there
don't know
forever,
about
yeah.
it. Yeah. So I think it's like that with the vampires essentially. Like
Mm.
there are these long held ugly pieces of our culture
Yeah.
that bleed through. And like the reality is a lot of monsters have anti-Semitic
Yeah.
Like we just built
Yeah.
that in, you know. That
Again, the fear of the other will always stem into it. So like,
in the same way that like Lovecraft wrote a bunch of stories that were really not chill about African people and
sure.
trying to monsterize them.
About a lot of
Yeah,
he covered a wide palette of
wide
people.
palette. Jews, everybody got a
Hey,
take.
everybody go look up the name of his cat. And they're just gonna
Um,
oh boy,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, man, shit's fucked. Anyway, Deadstream's really fun. You should go.
I'd love that. I would love that. That sounds fun. That does sound really fun, though.
Sounds more fun when Chris talks about it.
It's weird. Is it weird? Why is it when Ian does it sad?
I wonder if like no, I've definitely tied shit that I'm like that it has darker undertone if you really look into it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I I don't know. There's also like
I
the
feel you.
degree of like trying to be meaningful about what you're doing. Like
Yeah,
I I remember I had listened to, this is a dweeby shit from when I was in my 20s, but
go for it.
like I had listened to a Martin Luther King speech
Mm-hmm.
where he validly points out like the English language is bent against us. The English
Yeah.
language inherently is centered around whiteness, lightness, brightness being
Yep.
good, darkness, blackness being sinful and dark and
Yeah.
dirty and evil.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, am I going to be really able to undo that though as a right like
Yeah,
if
are
I
you gonna be able to?
you know what I mean? Like
And well, so do you want to take my philosophy on that, or like let me?
go ahead.
Well, you finish. You finish.
I was going to say like I want to be aware of that and I want to try and
Yeah.
like not feed into that, but at the
Mm-hmm.
same time I also cannot like I can't divorce myself from the language and the culture that my language exists. Like I can't just
Yeah.
start using
Exactly.
white as a synonym for dirty and bad.
Yeah.
I mean I could, but that would be I think that would be really confusing to most people without
Yeah.
something, you know what I mean? So that's
Yes.
where I'm at with it.
Yeah. So I mean, there's the thing of like you definitely can't ignore the past because then you're just not acknowledging the history, and you're
Yeah.
doomed to repeat everything that goes on. And essentially,
Mhm.
like most identity does stem from history, whether we like it or not.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
my thing that kind of helps me
Mhm.
is I stick to the philosophy of do what you can, no matter what situation
Yeah.
you're in.
Yeah.
Um, so you do, and I and everyone, and you can get stuck in like the niceness that is the short end of that. But I think the more
Mhm.
beautiful aspect of that saying is in the long term, you do what you can and you do the best so you can just to make a little dent, right?
Yeah.
And you hope
Yeah.
people will see that dent and to help make it bigger and to keep going and hopefully the future, the generations, and this is a very positive way to look at it. I
Mhm.
realize as someone who has stated before, I my go-to is cynicism, um,
Yeah.
just because that's the way my brain works. But I also think like the positivity aspect comes from me trying to overcome that. But anyway, you do what little you can and hope that other people will see it, but also the future generations will keep you make it a little easier.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
make it a little bit better and you that's all you can do because there's no way you can do the big change you want to instantly do
Exactly.
that.
Yeah.
But I think you can help people get a rolling start and you're hoping that it's not that yeah, it'll avalanche into something bigger. Like you're
Yeah.
hoping to be the one snowflake or the one snowball that to make
Yes.
that avalanche go
Yes.
to add on to it.
I like that. I
That's
like
how
that.
that's how I kind of view it. Cause yeah, other than you're stuck with the crushing feeling of fuck, man, what can I do? Like,
I
and
like
it's
the
scary.
thing, but
That's
it's
it's
kind of
paralyzing, man.
racist.
It's paralyzing in every aspect of your life if you
Yeah.
start thinking like that.
Yeah.
So you just do what you can. Do what you can.
I like that.
It's
I
hard.
like
It's fucking hard. Like,
Okay.
no easy way to get to get through it.
No.
Well, you got to
No.
do it. You
But
got to do the work.
it's good work. It's good
Yeah,
work to be doing.
and I
Good
also
work.
understand the thing of you probably won't see the rewards for that. You can only hope, right?
Yes.
Um, but I mean, you'll see small stuff. We always talk about like someone reading our stuff or experiencing the things we make and going like, "Oh yeah, I enjoyed that," and like how that means the world. No
Yeah.
matter anything. Um, so you just take what you can, do what you
Okay.
can.
I like
That's what I
that.
would argue to you.
I'm prone to agree. I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Uh, Chris, why don't you want to talk about what you're playing a little bit to round us out?
Yeah. Let me just wrap up with one movie that I don't know if it's talked about. Like horror fans love it, and I've talked about it
Mm,
before. I just want more people to watch it because it's great.
okay.
Go watch Ritual on Netflix.
Okay.
Um, oh shit,
The
am I even getting it?
Norwegian, the Norwegian one.
No, I just said that and I went, wait, that's not the term. That's not the name of the movie.
Ritual was the one with like the deer monster, right?
Is that true? Hang on. Wait, what is this? Come on, Netflix. What have I watched? Come on, movies. Horror movies. What is this new thing? Oh man. No, that's The Ritual. Okay, that's not what I wanted. What's the horror movie I watched from Taiwan?
Mm.
That's fucking great. I talked about. Oh shit. Yeah. Well, in the meantime, I can talk about things I'm looking forward to while I'm doing this.
Yeah, go for it, man.
Cabinet of Curiosities is
Mm.
going. I've seen the first episode, loved it.
Nice, nice.
Absolutely love the first episode. Can't wait to watch more. They're each hour long tidbits, and I love these kinds of things. I've said before, I like the short stories that you do, and you get to see that.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone knows I'm a big fan of Guillermo del Toro, so I will eat up whatever he serves, and and most of the time I'll love it. So
Yummy, yummy crap.
yummy,
Yes.
yummy. There's more food on my plate. Incantation. That's the movie I'm fucking thinking of.
Incantation. What? Wait, have I heard about this?
I
This.
feel like I've
Hmm.
talked about it because when I watched it, I couldn't shut up about it.
Okay. Okay.
Um, Set in Taiwan. Yo, that with Nope is competing for my horror movie of the year in a year
Ooh.
that is just so we're in a new golden age of horror. I would argue,
Yeah.
where there's just so much good stuff out there. Go watch Incantation. I fucking love that movie. It does what I love, which is yes, you get this wrapped up horror and these curses and these great imagery and just real like really scary stuff, but it's all wrapped around at its core a heartfelt story.
Mm-hmm.
That again,
Okay.
at its core, it's about a mom. It's about a mom and her
Okay.
trying to protect her child
Okay.
and the inevitable means to which she'll go to do that.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
Great movie, fantastic movie, up there for it's probably in my top 5 movies of this year,
Oh
like
wow.
straight up.
Okay. Okay.
Phenomenal movie,
Yeah.
found footage style. It's great. It's great. The horror's great. Yeah. Other than that, I'm looking forward to playing Faith. Is finally out, the trilogy
Oh
by
shit! We
Airdorf.
didn't even talk about Faith, dude.
Yeah, I haven't played it yet. I
Love,
want to. Oh, I can't
love.
wait.
Oh my God.
You play it?
I did play it.
Did you beat it?
I did beat it.
Oh shit. Okay. Oh
It's
fuck. Is it good? It's good.
it's yeah, dude. It's really good. Dude, it it now feels very much like so. Faith, the unholy trinity, is essentially
Oh
just
yeah.
all the games together, and then
Yeah,
a
it's
little
all of
bit
them put
more,
together.
and then a little bit more. It feels very much so much like playing like a cabinet game from the set, or like an
Mm,
old PC game from
yeah, yeah,
1970.
yeah. Which is what he's going for. He's going for like ColecoVision style.
It,
Yeah.
damn, impressed. Can't wait for you.
Yeah.
Get
If anyone's willing to look up the old videos, me and Ian played through both of them. and
Really?
it really freaked out Ian. So,
It's spooky. It's
and it
spooky.
got me at my core because like it was very relatable. It's
Yeah.
in parts I wouldn't like to relate
Yes.
to. Um, it's good.
Uh.
It's fantastic games. I can't wait, dude. I can't fucking wait to play a third one.
Okay. Okay.
Other than that, Cabinet of Curiosities is the big one that I'm
Okay.
looking forward to for horror stuff for
Uh,
Halloween.
let me make one recommendation as we pull
Absolutely.
that as we go out. Just because you've reminded me, I tried a new podcast recently.
Uh
I won't lie, it's kind of ups and downs. It depends who they have as a guest.
okay.
So it's one of those shows. But it's called Please Don't Tell Anybody, which is a podcast wherein basically a guest comes in and they're interviewed for about an hour, hour and a half about something really remarkable that has happened.
Yeah.
And they had two back-to-back episodes that I thought were super interesting. Had one guy named Ben who is an ex-Mormon who had been living in a
Yeah.
very extreme sect of Mormonism in Utah.
Sorry, real quick. Sorry I'm interrupting, but it's called Please Don't Tell Anyone. Not
Please don't
anybody.
tell anyone.
Yeah.
Please don't tell anyone. Yes.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Uh,
Just want to get the name right.
and that episode, dude, when I was listening to it, I was like, oh, I'm gonna tell Chris about this.
Oh, okay.
He's gonna get like it's really weird because we didn't grow up Mormon certainly, but oh boy, some of that stuff he talks about, it's like, yeah, yep, that's about right. Yeah,
Yeah, send me the link to the episode. I'll listen to it.
Alrighty. It's a very interesting show. If you
Yeah.
guys are interested in, I know some of our people are interested in crime stories,
Yeah.
wherein we focus on the stories of victims and how they overcome difficulties and things like that.
Yeah, because that's one of the biggest problems with true crime is like on some level you're celebrating the killer, like
The villain.
you're exploiting a victim story.
Exactly.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
There is an excellent episode that I also recommend if you want a real, like a scare that feels very real.
Yeah.
This young woman talks about how she was basically stalked and then eventually kidnapped by her ex. It's a scary ass story.
Yeah.
But you also get kind of the path to her taking back power, to her putting an end to that whole thing. Not to spoil it, sorry. She's fine now.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. She's telling the story. So.
but she, just her being able to tell that story in particular on Please Don't Tell Anyone, like it's scary as shit, man, and it feels very real, and it's also her kind of saying her piece and talking about what she wants to see happen. So, I mean, a strong recommend on that one too. I'll send you the link to Ben's one.
Right on. Yeah. No, definitely isn't it. Then I guess I'll close it out real quick just because you reminded me. Two podcasts. One I for sure listened to that I recommend. It was part of Jason Pargin's like appearing on podcast to promote his book, which again, go read his stuff. He's still one of my favorite authors right now. And Ian knows how much he's influenced like my own stuff.
Massive.
Yeah, it's crazy. He was on is it Something Interesting podcast with other cracked writer. Something Interesting podcast. It was about barbed wire.
Oh, okay.
And why can't I find anyway the as I look for the name, the podcast is about barbed wire and its history.
Okay.
Where because each episode they take like a small thing or they take a thing and I think it's secretly fascinating. They take a thing and then they look into it. They do a little history and discuss it with guests. And that secretly incredibly fascinating with Alex Schmidt.
Secretly incredible. Oh, Alex Schmidt is excellent.
Yeah,
well
he's great.
Done. Okay.
He's
Very
great. Secretly incredibly fascinating with Alex Schmidt. The Jason Parkin tends to appear on like the Halloween episodes. Last year they did Spirit Halloween, and that was a really great episode
like
for Halloween.
Store?
Yeah, the store. This year they did it on Barbed Wire. Fair warning, barbed wire is a real downer
I
when
would imagine so.
when you get into its history. But
Okay.
kind of the thing to think about too is just how this small piece of technology
Mhm.
fucking changes like landscapes of the world, like in political and like social landscapes.
I mean,
Um, and they
it's weird
address
because
something. Okay.
I was gonna say, like, when you say history of barbed wire, the two things that come to mind are probably like Soviet Russia and prisons. Like,
Ah,
uh,
okay. What if I threw in a word
oh,
that might click something? Colonialization.
shit. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that one too. Yeah, that one too, probably.
And also just how like recent that invention is. Um,
Really?
in
Okay.
the grand scheme of things, yeah.
Okay.
But also the one of the bigger things, one of the reasons they choose this topic is that like in futurism or things that are like you try to predict the future and what technologies are going to be the most influential.
Yeah.
It's never what you think. It's always the small things. It's
Yeah.
always going to be boring tools that you don't think about too often, like barbed wire, like the
Like
battery, like like lithium and all that.
the VHS recorder, man, like that changed.
Oh,
That
not
really changed.
you see. I would even argue smaller tape.
Yeah, tape, magnetic tape. Yeah.
Yep, magnetic tape. Just that. Just the small components, right?
Yeah.
Just the fucking screw. You ever think about that? It's in
I guess
fucking
I had.
everything.
For not.
um, but it used to just be nails. It was never even a screw. Anyway, but yeah, that's a great episode. The other one I'm looking forward to, one which is much more horror themed that I have not listened to yet, but it's on my thing. The Mayfair Watchers Society.
Okay. You
That is.
mentioned this a little bit, I think.
I
Yeah.
feel like I was excited for it, but I just haven't had a chance to look it up or to listen. Mayfair Watchers Society is a podcast but with Trevor Henderson,
Mm,
or yeah, done based on his drawings of creatures.
interesting.
And
Okay.
each episode is just about one is like a fiction about that creature or a story about it or something to do with it.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm super looking forward to that. Apparently, so
Okay.
far it's great. So I just haven't given it a chance yet, or I haven't gotten a chance to listen. Other than that, man, that's anything else you're looking forward to, or we
Yeah,
good?
one quick one that I'll
Yeah, go
throw
for it.
out is
And then we
new
have to name
season
our
of
favorite. I don't know, ghost or haunt or monster or whatever.
new season of American Dad. It's really good.
Is it?
Weirdly,
I've heard American
like
Dad's actually gotten really good in the past couple seasons.
it's kind of preposterous. So we watched the premiere of the new
I mean,
season.
Soren Bowie is riding on that NASA or has been.
I'm feeling that energy possibly. Like the premiere of this season was a parody of the video game Myst. If you remember that.
It's a weird one to take. That's wild. Yeah, no, I
That's
know what Miss is.
Yeah, it's a wild reference.
Fucking old, you fucking old timers.
So
That's
I'd
cool.
recommend it. Like that episode is a fun Halloween kind of episode to watch, just because it's very funny, but it's weird. It's real weird.
I'll give that a shot. Because like American Dad was always the one out of the three like McFarlane things that I actually really liked, or the only one I stuck to watching. Right?
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. The Cleveland show has a great intro. It's just I never stuck with it.
Fair.
Yeah. And Family Guy fell off like a ton of bricks because I wasn't like a kid anymore watching something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. No. Yeah. Wasn't expecting that. Okay. Yeah. So what's a spooky question we can end on? That's real. Yo, if you could,
Yes.
if you could, and you should or would you? If you could kill a ghost in any way,
okay.
how do you kill this ghost and why? And who?
Oh, and who? Who's?
And for what reason? What's your deal? What do you got against this ghost?
Why do I have to?
Why are you killing this ghost, Ian? That's so fucked up. Aren't they dead already?
not dead enough, in my opinion.
Why are you ghost busting over here?
Well, I've been told that busting does make people feel good. So, you know,
Busting
maybe I
does
should
make
try
people.
busting. But I mean, who knows? Who knows?
Yeah. Is it Casper? Because why would you do that?
I'm probably gonna pick.
Man, I have nothing for this joke. Please choose something. Go for it.
I'm gonna pick. I'm gonna pick the the ghost of civility. I'm killing.
Oh
civility,
shit!
damn it.
I'm killing the ghost of a balanced breakfast. Because too long we've been pigeonholing ourselves to what a concept of a breakfast is. But it's just shit you eat when you wake up.
It's a joke.
Joke. Cereal tastes better at night. Fight me. Anyway, it's a dessert, not a meal.
Oh, I agree with that. But Americans love dessert for breakfast. But
that's true. That
hey
is
guys.
true. Fucking pancakes and waffles and shit. That's spooky.
We're now coming up on a time for indulging in sweets. So hey guys, have your own waffle candy tower for Halloween. Why not?
All right, happy Halloween, everyone. Enjoy a good haunt. Good, be excellent to each other, be excellent, all that good stuff. It's spooky season. Then the fucking holidays are right after that.
I'm so old I died. Oh no.
Bye. I think you're getting ahead of yourself.
Yeah, your first plan should be getting by us.
Though you call yourselves bladers, you don't know the real truth about bay blading. There is a tremendous power hidden within bays. Since ancient times, the existence of bays can be found in moments throughout history. The power of Beyblades have been used to change the course of rivers and oceans. They have been used to defeat many armies and create huge empires.
You wouldn't be so tough without that helmet, little brother.
You're on, Proto-Man. Plasma power! Missed me again, number one, son.
But I won't miss this time.
Oh no! He's gonna blast President Lincoln!
Ha! I knew you'd risk yourself for Mr. Lincoln.
Simpson scandal update. Homer sleeps nude in an oxygen tent, which he believes gives him sexual powers.
Hey, that's a half-truth.
Shara, will you grant me one more wish? I wish for a mountain of handkerchiefs. Now, just let yourself cry, as much as you need to.
You'll have plenty of handkerchiefs to help you through it.
Well, sir, treason season started early this year as a nuclear sub was hijacked by local man Homer Simpson.
Oh my god! I told him that photo would come back to haunt him.
Could Homer Simpson be a communist? His father spoke out on his behalf.
My Homer is not a communist. He may be a liar, a pig, an idiot, a communist, but he is not a porn star.
Hero call! This trap card lets me pick a monster and put him on the top of my deck. And I choose this. Elemental hero, Neos. Not so fast. Thanks to my stage select spell, he won't be there for long. Because now I get to shuffle your deck. So how do you like this? Bada bing! I'll shuffle these boys real good.
でも先輩結構みんなに優しいじゃん。なんか声かけてくれたりとか。でも香水もらったらなんかこんなんくれるって。嘘好きすぎ合うのすっごい恥ずかしい。うわ明日バイトなんだけど。いつでもそこに。マジで
Iris.
Sarah.
Hang in there, Iris.
Please, stay away from Replophos. Let's live together. In a world where only Reploids exist.
Iris, there's no world just for Reploid. It's only a fantasy.
Yes, I know, but I wanted to believe it. I wanted to live in a world where only Reploids exist with you.
Iris! 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 Ah! No, this isn't happening! There's no reason for me to go on. What? What am I fighting for?
Now it's time for the Pizza Head Show.
Hey everybody, I'm done trick-or-treating and now I'm gonna go for a stuffed crust pizza at Pizza Hut. Yay!
Not yet, Pizza Head. There's one more place to go.
I don't think anyone's home.
Sure there is.
Hello, trick-or-treat! Interesting hieroglyphics on this pizza.
Quick, Pizza Head, let's go upstairs.
Hey, who lives here anyway?
It's your host, Count Steve.
Oh, nice place. You got it. I want to go to Pizza Hut now!
The Count will be happy to give you a lift.
Oh, hey, put me down! Put me down!
See you next time.
Boo!
I know a place that's peaceful and quiet. A place where animals play. It's called the forest, but every year we start forest fires. A careless match or cigarette and poof, fire. So the next time you're in the forest, be extra careful, okay?
If you knew it was me, would you have listened?
Will you hold it down out there? You guys are always fighting!
Enid Clinton, we've got business with your husband. What? John? Hal Jordan, another time shift. I'm up to speed. Carry on. No booby traps. At least none that my ring can detect.
Make up your mind, would you?
뭐야?
Have you noticed any change in Bart?
New glasses?
No, he looks like something might be disturbing him.
Probably misses his old glasses.
I guess we could get more involved in Bart's activities, but then I'd be afraid of smothering him.
Yeah, and then we'd get the chair.
That's not what I meant.
It was, Marge, admit it.
What's so special about Splinter?
Yo, dude, it's like Splinter's our dad, you know? I mean, what's so special about your dad?
Pepsi for TV game.
Mmm, 64 slices of American cheese. 64. 63. 2. 1.
Have you been up all night eating cheese?
I think I'm blind.
What?
Good day to you.
My mother risked her life for me. And now you, too. I should have saved you. I should have been the one to fill your dark soul with light!
Escape me! I'll chase you to the ends of the earth!
I defeated you once, and I shall do it again!
No, Magneto. I let you win before, in order to learn your plan, to trap you. But now the victory belongs to the Fantastic Four.
Fool! Have you forgotten my invincible magnetic power? No mere weapon can stop me. With but a gesture, I can destroy it, or turn it against you. Behold! I'll make it leap from your hand, and make you its target. Now!
Not this time, Magneto. This time I'm fighting for real.
It's impossible! It cannot be! Nothing can defy my magnetic power!
The Fantastic Four can. You're finished, Magneto. Surrender! You have no other choice.
Why? Why will the gun not obey me? My power is gone. I'm helpless. Magnetism. It was my greatest weapon.
Okay, Richards. We'll take care of him now.
First tell me, how did you do it? How did you take away my power?
I didn't, Magneto. I merely tricked you.
You lie. I couldn't control your gun. You made me lose my magnetism.
You're wrong. I just guessed that you'd overlook one simple thing. Your magnetic power only works on metal, like all magnets. But my gun isn't real. I made it out of wood, specially to fool you.
Wood? A wooden gun?
That's why your power didn't work. And it's why you're a prisoner of the police now. Take him away, men.
A wooden gun. He tricked me. with a wooden gun.
We can't bust heads like we used to, but we have our ways.
Oh, you got it.
One trick is to tell them stories that don't go anywhere. Like the time I caught the ferry over to Shelbyville, I needed a new heel for my shoe. So I decided to go to Morganville, which is what they call Shelbyville in those days. So I tied an onion to my belt, which was the style at the time. Now, to take the ferry cost a nickel, and in those days, nickels had pictures of bumblebees on them. Give me 5 B's for a quarter, you'd say. Now, where were we? Oh, yeah. The important thing was that I had an onion on my belt, which was the style at the time. They didn't have white onions because of the war. The only thing you could get was those big yellow ones.